Hey there, everybody. Welcome back with the Platte and Laliette. This is a little bit of a sub podcast special. As the Pigcast doesn't have a Pygmalien tier list, and we figured that we should do one, and it sounded fun. Um, I really want to do this as more of an exercise to kind of better organize my thoughts on, like, all right, I know what I think is good, but I haven't taken all the data and like looked at it in one spot. So I am kind of curious where we land. How you doing today, Laliette?
I'm doing great. I'm also going to use this as an educational point to see like what items am I probably undervaluing since I play Pig less than half as much as you do. Right now, I'm alternating every game Pig with the enchanted item and then Dooley with the skill.
I am going to try to not be super biased about like things that I like. For example, let's just do Caltrops. I think Caltrops is probably S tier, but I never take this item because it doesn't fit into my builds that I currently play. But I think it's like an undeniably incredibly powerful item. Um, Especially like it not just with Crook, but like it's probably the best Crook item. Better, it's arguably better than a Lottle in a Crook build. Um, so I think that item's probably S tier, even though I don't use it at all, as an example.
Yeah. I actually just had a property build and I threw that in there because I had the every time you use a property give 5 well actually I think it was the gold one so it was like 10 and 10. So that thing was naturally like 40 damage and then over the course of the fight it just got bigger and bigger. So it just killed dualies really easily.
Yeah, it's super good, especially if you're using like cold room ATM, anything with like that just kind of procs frequently. It the only bad thing about it is it doesn't work with Fort. So if it doesn't work with Fort, I can't buy it. Abacus, I think this is like a very I'm nor this used to be lower. I think it's like B tier because Fixer Upper is very good, and this is like a really nice one item slot to make it to be roughly as good as Fixer Upper. Um, because it does adjacency things. It could be a little awkward to fit where if you want to do something like you want a balcony on Fixer Upper, you don't, you want this on the left side of it, but sometimes you get the thing that makes it where like adjacent properties can like if you have a what's it called? The snow globe, then I don't really it could be awkward to fit, but I think it's like it's a fine item. I'll run it sometimes specifically in that kind of build.
Definitely something that I have never used.
Yeah, it's very very rare that it comes up, but I don't think it's like a bad item. Like in a character that scales value a lot, but this could easily be like it's hard to justify exactly, right? Everything's contextual. In a normal average build, this is probably a D, but any build where you would consider using it, I think it's like a B tier item.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we're rating if it's playable in a playable build, right? Like that's kind of how we're looking. So you can play this with Fixer Upper, and I've never really thought of doing that. So I think B sounds reasonable, and I'm probably going to look for it next time I have a big Fixer Upper.
yeah, if you have like a sub scraper, fixer upper, you put this in the middle of them. Like this thing is very strong. There's a point where it's like the amount of shield, is it really that important? Um, but usually yes, because if you want to convert your shield into damage, then this is very good. I think for 24 hours, this item was good, but for the most part, I don't know how to spell this stupid name. It's the one item on this list I probably don't know the name of. Um, I have a hard time saying like the thing is Ganjo is really good day one, two, three, and if you're trying to scale after that, weights triggers way more. This has the multicast, which is nice, and it always hits everything, but I don't know. It just never feels like the best option. For that 24 hours where it had a like a really short cooldown, it was S tier, and now I don't know. Like I can't think of a build where I really want this item outside of maybe Matchbox, and it doesn't actually work with Matchbox unless you get like weapon Matchbox.
Yeah, so I think C is appropriate. This is a early game thing, and then I've seen people run it in late games pretty effectively. But I always think I would slot something else in instead. But really, what it is when you miss the Ganjo, this is really good for the first 5 days, 6 days, whatever. The problem is I don't think you can really see it until like day two, but probably day three. So it's got a very tiny usage window
Yeah,
and it's called Apropos Chapeau.
apropos
Chateau.
chapeau, of course, the Chateau Rainier. Um, I live by Mount Rainier, so a lot of things are called something something Rainier. Um, Atlas Stone. I feel like this is a D tier item. I there's a world where you could, if you go all in on this and you find it, you already have the diamond phonograph and you already have the crook, and it's like you already have a way to haste it. It's like, oh wow, this item doesn't seem that bad, but that's like pie in the sky. This is like a, I don't even remember the cooldown on this. I've literally never put this on my board, so that's probably a sign of D tier. 7-second cooldown, and then it doubles its damage. I know this used to be OP at some point. I don't know when that point was. Okay, it's before my
Yeah,
time.
I don't remember it being OP. I
It,
have played
friends and family.
650. Oh, okay. Yeah, we didn't play during Friends and Family. 650 games of the Bazaar. And I've only seen this on my opponent's boards 3 times, and I've never lost to it. Uh, the problem is these ultra commit items, when there's just a better alternative, you just never use it.
The thing is, like, if this was a bronze item and it just went from like 1, 2, 3, 4 damage, there's a real chance it would be busted. Like, if you just could get this effect early on and build completely around it from the start of the run. But the thing is, you're never set up to take this. You're never like, oh, I've got the perfect weapon pig build. And now it's like, because when you get it at the end game, 7 seconds is too slow. You need to have something that, if you're on day 10, you need to have haste and you need to have 50% cooldown. This needs to be going off every like 2 seconds, 3 seconds. It ain't nothing. That's why I think a Lotl is A tier. I don't think like when I'm talking about S tier, I know what I'm putting in S tier kind of already. A Lotl is not on the same level as those items. If a Lotl started day 1, hour 1 at its 1 second cooldown, I think it would be. But I'm telling you, a Lotl's deceptive. Maybe if you're a really good pig player, like it's better. Maybe it is S tier, but so many people freaking lose because they use this item before it's ready. They'll put it on their board as like a 6.5 second cooldown, and they'll put like their scaling item next to it. And over the course of 50 seconds, it gets down to 1 second. But it's like it doesn't matter, you're dead. It didn't do anything for so long. So it's a little bit of a trap item. It is obviously good, but also it's I don't think it's as good as people think it is. Obviously, when you get all the pieces together, you get the Exodia, it's pretty good, but if you need to get this up to minimum 200 attack and you need to enchant it and you need to have items to support it to have it there, I don't think that's S tier. I think it is A tier though. It is obviously very powerful.
Yeah, the thing about this is when it should be on your board, um, it is S tier.
Hmm.
But that's not really the way you should rate an item because there's a lot most matches this is never going to work for your build or your board. There is some really cool stuff I've seen people do with like Pig's Gym and stuff like that to be able to ramp it up. I've seen people early game Ganjo it to be like mediumly effective, but the real way to play this is on crook boards. There's very few other boards that I really want this on.
The only reason you early game Ganjo this is because you haven't found like Flail or something, right? Because like Flail is just like way better in the early game. Um, but I mean, like, of course, yeah. Once it turns on, then it's good. ATM, I'm a little torn on. I immediately want to put it in A tier, but I think of another item I'm putting in A tier, and I don't think this is quite as good as it. I'm not sure yet. Um, B tier seems pretty safe. It's mostly good because it's a 4 second cooldown property. That's what it's got going. I mean, it gives you income when you buy it. That can't be undervalued, right? They just had to nerf income on day 1 when you got +3. So when you buy this bronze, or it's +1 and +2. So this can give you a good amount of income. It's a property, which is very rare to have a reasonable in-game property. That's Money Tree is not very good. Um, but yeah, it does seem a little mid to me. I'm never like, oh, ATM. I'm like, this serves its purpose. More than anything, this item is never broken, even if it is one of the best property skill activators.
Yeah, I still don't think I ever want it on my 11 plus day boards.
It's it well right now in the current how I'm playing, never. It used to always make it because the fact if you get the right skills, especially in the older pig meta where it's like you used to be able to just guarantee get the skill when you use a property haste adjacent items, you could get that all the time. This was like super good. Whenever you use a property, give all your things attack and defense. Whenever you use a property, give adjacent items crit chance. Like it's perfect for activating those things. But at this point, I'd probably just run Cold Room over all of those because it's almost the exact same thing with about the same activation and a better effect.
Yeah.
Aurora Borealis or whatever. I think I think this
Yeah.
is actually
Not
almost the
by
exact same item.
really?
I think it's about the same. I think it's worse than ATM, but I don't think it is significantly worse. It's a 5 second cooldown instead of 4 second. I mean, it could go to C, but some when you actually have free synergy, this gives you quite a bit of shield. Um,
I just don't think that shield matters.
it doesn't matter. It is kind of it's a defense on top of a defense, so it's less impactful because you're already freezing their
Yeah.
items, so you're not dealing as much damage. But permanent freeze pig isn't as common anymore at all. So, I do think I think it's good, but there are situations I'd run it over ATM, but I would always buy ATM over this because ATM also has the income bonus and a shorter cooldown. Um,
Yeah, I think that's fair. I maybe I'm just underrating the item. It's never hit my board unless I'm in the early game and I see it early and I just need something on my board.
I think I don't think I could put balcony below A tier. I don't know if it's S tier. It is the best if you have fixer upper, it is the absolute best thing you could have on your board with the fixer upper, probably. Although maybe the phonograph is arguably just as good, just make the fixer upper 2 seconds. But I don't think Fixer Upper is S tier. I think Fixer Upper itself is like a build is like A tier. I think it's fallen behind the pay to win stuff in general. So to me, this falls into the A tier, but it's like clearly the best thing to have with one of the better builds for Pig. Kind of the exact
Yeah,
same as a Lottle, where it's like it's the best complementary thing to the other stuff.
yeah, I think it's even better than the Lottle because it just it enables the doubling of power of something that's already powerful, right? So it's
Yeah,
um
a Lottle never compounds either. Like if you get you can get multiple doubling effects and it goes instantly to quad, right? So it gets way more potent in that. Where a Lottle is kind of a linear scaler once it hits its peak.
yes.
Um,
And I do think both of those items over the long term of the game will continue to get better, right? As there's more and more things that work in synergy with them.
yeah, I mean, I guess that's all these things, right? They're good on day 17. They're probably good on day one. Okay, not on day one. They're less good on day one. I mean, but it's like they scale from day one all the way up through day 17 plus. Um, bandages. There's a lot of items here that are going to be very middling. Um, I mean, I don't know. Bandages isn't like bad, but it's like a C tier item. It's like not there are D tier items, right? Like brass knuckles is just bad. But like this is like I get this item because it's bronze, but it's good with Ganjo. It's better than succulents in the early game because it gets double scaling. Um, but I'm never and you know it activates Matchbox. It has the same cooldown as succulents, but its ceiling is fucking low. It has a really low ceiling, but its
Well,
floor is higher than a lot of the other bronze items.
I think about this. This is a transition piece, right? Get you through the early game into your boards. Like I would put it at the end of B, because
I think
it
it's
is the
fair.
best Banjo target, right? Because it buffs both of the pieces, and it still works pretty well with weights when you get the like the weight sauna synergies and stuff.
Yeah, it works with weights, but at that point, like once you if you get weights, you're looking for succulents because you're looking to overheal. But still, like it it does its job. I'm just turning this on that way we could have some background music because I totally forgot that I like having some background sound. Also, can I hot take? I'm sick of this stupid intro. All right, I'm sick of it. This is not much background music, but it's a little bit. It's a little ambiance. Beast
I
of
skip it
Burden.
every time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
How
I
do
don't
you
even.
feel about Beast?
Also, I think the tempo storm, like thunderstorm, is like too different from like the really uppity, bizarre, immediate cutscene that follows. Beast isn't very good, but I don't think it's bad. I don't know. A Beast of Burden build can win, but it's never optimal. It's never what you should be doing if you're trying to do your best to win. Like you can go fixer upper and like beast the burden, and that way you have a really big shield and a really big damage, and you can get like this really cool scaling because he's a property, so you can get like that give all your properties plus damage plus shield to close sign, I think. But I don't think it's like I think it can be good, but I think if you build all the way into it, you could probably win with it. Maybe that's a B. I don't know. But it's never like, oh, this is what you should be doing. Because Fixer Upper with the stupid shield item, the is better. The spike shield.
Yeah, it might be at the top of C, but it's like, um, if I face an opponent, would I rather see them have a Beast of Burden or an Apropos Chapeau? And it's probably I would rather see them have a Beast of Burden because that's going to be a slow, difficult thing to get going. It means I have some time to try to beat them. Apropos Chapeau does have the same like compounding effect as you get further into the game. You know, it does crazy things, and so does Beast if you have a way to enhance the damage. Like I've seen some people playing it with Shadow Cloak, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great with Shadow Cloak. That's the thing is like it does have like 10 multicast. That is huge. But I mean, I have faced a lot of Beast of Burdens in the last few days. I have destroyed all of them because they're doing like for some reason they're all still at 100 damage or something. So like Beast of Burden, you kind of need the property skill. That way every time he attacks, he gets stronger. He's still good with cargo shorts, by the way, because he gets all the types of cargo shorts. So he gets all the types of everything in your stash instead of things on the board, or he gets both. But um so you could get him up really high and really strong and do a lot of work, but it takes a lot of work to make Beast of Burden good. And when he gets there, you still like you need the skills. If you don't have the right skills, he just doesn't do much. I don't think he's good. I think Beehive is D tier right now. I don't think it's Atlas Stone bad. In fact, I don't think Brass Knuckles is Atlas Stone bad. This is including the B. It's probably low C tier. I think it's really bad because it only activates off of using weapons, and people just aren't. There's very few weapons. The weapons that there are one weapon Vanessa builds, and at that point it's still like a really bad caltrops because there's if they're using one weapon, a lot of the times unless they're perfectly set up, they're using a bunch of different kinds of like, you know, the heavy rope thing to slow your stuff down. Like you'll see a lot of non-weapon items that activate a lot. um every time I've tried to use this, I've lost. I've never been like, because here's the thing, the matchups that you win feel kind of good, but you get so hard countered by most of the things that are good. I would put it
Yeah.
D tier, but it's like I don't know if it's quite that bad. It is still like it lets you get a scaling weapon pretty easily. You know, you could buy properties that get stronger. And then it gives you a bunch of sell synergies if you have things that care about selling, like it gives you more things to sell. But um no, I'm gonna put a D tier. I think this item sucks. I literally in 10 runs I'd buy it 0 times. That's probably a sign that it's D tier.
Yeah, I don't buy it, and it's 100% a product of the meta, right? It's like there's not really many weapons going on with Pig unless you're playing Crook, and Crook isn't even that great anymore. And Vanessa's playing like one weapon builds, or aquatic stuff that might not even have that many weapons. Dooley's doing a lot of burn stuff. Every once in a while, you'll hit DJ, and you'll feel like you're an absolute genius.
I,
But
I
outside of that,
I can't even remember if it currently activates or charges. It just charges it. It's even worse than I thought. Because
oh,
like
that's horrible.
because I'm like, all right, if it used it, it would be like you would beat the Alotto builds probably, because that's like the dream. Every 1 second it does a non-lethal attack. You're like, bro, I'm set up. No, it's bad. Belt. I don't know if belt is S tier, but I think it is S tier.
I think
It's
it is.
it's percents on its percents. I don't think it works if you get flat HP improvements of like a set number. Like if you go to the gambler guy and he's like, "Oh, you want 200 to 600 HP?" I don't think the belt improves that at all just from math. But if you get a percent of HP increase and you put the belt on, you get a bigger percent, right? You get, even at silver, you get a 50% increase essentially, right? Because if you're going to give you 100 HP and you put the belt on, instead you get 150 HP even when you take the belt off, right? Because it looks like more than 150, but after the fact it would lower down to 150, right?
Yes, and I believe that if you use the belt, even when it's not on your board, to get a bonus HP, you'll keep the bonus HP when the day cycles, when it's
Yes.
temporary.
Yeah, he has it has because temporary HP is a percent based thing, so it gives you more than you're supposed to have. And ironically, belt loses some of its value when you're doing HP pig and you actually keep it on your board because you're not getting the free value of it, but it's still good in that. Then it's still the best item. So I think it definitely feels S tier. It's very unflashy and it doesn't come up that much, but HP pig has always been one of the best builds in the entire game, and this is a essentially must have on that build. I think pawn shop is more optional than this. For the most part, because of especially if you get a late pawn shop. But this also gives you free value for all other builds whenever you pick it up. There's a lot of items now. They've done a really good job. It used to be I just pick up belt, but now it's like I kind of want globe too. I kind of want the ATM. I kind of want the boots. I kind of want the ledger. You know, there's a lot of like medium items I kind of just want to hold forever, which you can't really do. Um, so I think they've done better at that. I also kind of want boomerang. I undervalue boomerang for sure. That's probably better. Billboard in its current state, I have literally not had an option to buy it, I think, even once. It needs to be in a fixer upper build, and I cannot say if it is good in a fixer upper build yet. It might be too big for like the scaling. I think in my mind, my theory crafting is it's like a B tier item. But this is probably the most unknown item on the entire tier list for me because it's the most drastically reworked, and I just have not been able to use it.
Yeah, I've seen it a bunch, but I refuse to pay for it because I am convinced that it's a trap. So I don't know where you would put a trap, right? It's not that it's horrible. It's kind of like Beast of Burden, where it's always suboptimal. It's just like the worst thing you could slot in to still have a build that actually does something. Um,
For me,
so
this
yeah,
is
that's
this
just
is
mine.
in my mind, this is the Matchbox Adlotl. I'm like, if this activates every 1 second, that's very strong. But I don't know.
And then you
Again,
still die to poison. Like,
it depends. I mean, I never really died of poison, but that's because Matchbox is very OP. I'm gonna put the. Do you think this is an A tier item? I don't value this very much, but I know it's like one of Crip's favorite items, and I don't want to go against the king. I don't. It never feels right for me, but also I probably just undervalue loot because the bad experiences stick out more than the good experiences. So the one time I get increased ammo, I'm like, this item's dog shit. I don't remember the 3 times it gave me cooldown reduction, right? Like, so it's probably just safely an A tier item, even though I don't like using it.
yeah, it's probably better than we think it is. I would have put it at the top of B. Like, I look at it very much like how I evaluate ATM. It's, always good in PvE fights as long as I can win them. Because my problem is I already have mapped out like how I want my EXP to go, and it really includes fighting the hard boss every time it's not Lich. And like subbing in a weapon like that can really mess up if you're playing like a matchbox build or something,
Hmm.
and then all of a sudden you actually can't beat the gold guy.
Yeah, I would say 10% of the time I lose when I use this, then I switch it in. Um, but I typically know when obviously the more experience you have. I will say we are at 23 minutes. We're gonna have to pick up the pace. Boots, this item sucks. I know people think it's good, but you find silver boots early on, and then you trick yourself into spending 200 gold to upgrade your shitty items. It hits the items you buy. Don't get me wrong. There's a time and a place where boots is really good. You get a diamond boots that's fiery, and you upgrade your cold, room or whatever. Like there are situations where boots is good, and I will frequently buy it, but it usually just costs me 16 gold to sell it for 8 gold after it hits a fucking spare change that I forgot to sell. That might be player error, but I don't like it. Um, there's no world where I could put briefcase in A tier, but this is one of my favorite items in the game. It's you never use it for anything other than maybe it's C tier, but it's like it's weird to put an item in C tier that you buy every single time you see it always. Um, because it just generates a little bit of money. It's actually a good weapon day 1, day 2. Like it does reasonable damage. It's so good because the best merchant in the game for Pig is that stupid tree guy with the terrible voice lines that I hate. But it's like he sells medium and large items. He sells things like this, and you just make money whenever you buy this. It enables a lot of buy and sell synergies, right? Like when you're trying to scale up ledger, this is the shit you're looking for. You're looking for this and looking for the safe. But I guess it is very it's a low impact, but you're getting a bunch of times. Um, I have
Yeah.
to put membership card in A tier. purely for the interaction that it gives you an extra experience on those days where you get to visit the bazaar, where you get 3 bonus experience instead of 2. And like eventually you just buy this early on and then you just sell it for 40 gold later. um i I think this is an item I would always, every time I buy it, my run feels stronger. You're right, but it's high B tier. A tier may be a little high because I'm gonna put, let me skip ahead and put an item that I actually think is A tier that does a similar thing for me. We'll find it later. All right, bushel. I think bushels also high B tier. I don't think it is. I think it's heydays are over. You have to shield to charge it 1 second. There's not really multicast shield items. There's it's just not super good. It's like fine. Like I would run it early, but this never makes it to an end game board for me anymore. This isn't like, oh, on day 17 bushel. Whoa, what are you doing with bushel at this stage? What do you think about
Yeah.
bushel? Am I wrong on that one?
So I look at bushel very similarly to how I look at bandages. So I'm fine with being the same tier. I do think that briefcase is probably a like lower B tier. It's never bad, right?
Okay.
The higher rarities can be, but the lower rarities are just always like breaking even or whatever. And the pig just has so many ways to take advantage of it.
Yeah, you know what? Diamond briefcase sucks. That's funny because it's 32 gold to make like half that. But yeah, bronze, silver, and gold are all I think pretty reasonable. Cargo shorts. I mean, it was S tier for 24 hours. I think it's I think it is a B tier item. I think it's easy to think the item sucks because they removed like an insane thing, but it still gives you shield and healing based on the amount of item types it has. So it's pretty, this is very strong early game. It gives you just a fat amount of shield and healing. And it is like pretty much always a property if you have a property in your stash, I guess. So like this kind of has like, it's better than ATM in a lot of ways, but it's a little bit slower. So I don't think like objectively better, and it's not always a property, but I think this is a very reasonable item to have at this point. I
I'll take your word for it. I don't play it.
it's good. It's good. Like if you would run ATM, usually this is better if you don't have the skills. Um, because like you just get 1 truffle and this has more shielding and healing than ATM has. Um, I think cash cannon, I'm going to put this in A tier. I'll admit silver cash cannon sucks. Gold cash cannon, it just gets so crazy the longer the run goes on. Like to get this to thousands of damage baseline without any modifiers inside around itself is easy. It gets multicast with fort because it's a 7-second cooldown and it goes to 8 seconds. But I mean, this is in a lot of ways, this is like any non HP pig. This is going to be your highest damage item in the game. If like, obviously you can pick it up on day 10, it's not very good. But if you get this relatively, I mean, even on day 10, like the money you get scales up, especially as Pygmalion. But you end up just with like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gold. And then if you're trying to scale this, you could just spend all 100 gold, sell the items back, spend the gold, get the items back. It's very easy to make this thing go crazy. It has to be at least gold though. But then if you get any enchantment on this, you have 2,000. Like, because I mean, I didn't even try that hard. I had a 2,000 strength cash cannon with poison, and then I had multicast. I'm like, that was just fucking good. It's an item that gets stronger every single day. It's never it always gets stronger, which I think is an A tier item.
Yes, I do think that this is like one of the pig cast hot takes, right? So it's like um, Ash Cannon honestly is way better than I thought it was. I've been running it for the exact reasons you say, and I think you have to really value items that are good day 13 forward. Like those are premium items.
Yeah, like there's a point, like don't get me wrong, I love the giant ice club, but like the giant ice club loses value over time because it has a flat amount of damage, even though you can kind of cheese it. But this thing is just always getting stronger, 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 stronger. I think ATM is overrated. I think it's not very good. I think the best part about ATM is that it's a tool. For any kind of, you need like a tool for something, um, like for cargo shorts or something. But I don't think I'd ever buy ATM over the vending machine at this point. And because vending machine gives you 3 things that gives you HP. I mean, Like, yes, this can give you money over time. In a way, you could see this as getting +2 income. But it takes so much space. I value this item very low. I have so many ways to make money as Pygmalion now that this never feels needed to me.
I do think for lower skilled players, it's a good item. I am still a believer in it, but I do find myself selling it a lot when it just takes up too much space.
Yeah, I don't like having 4 slots at the end of the day. Um, Especially, it makes it awkward to hold things. Like, yeah, the second I come up across a guy that's like, oh, I buy your medium items for more, I'm like, all right, there you go. Take it. Is this close sign or open sign?
Oh, I don't know.
This is
I think it's
close,
closed.
close sign. That's regeneration. This is a million times easier to make good as opposed to the other sign. This just kind of is always working. I don't think it's like A tier though, especially with like how easy it is to get regeneration on Pig now. But I mean, if you have a fixer upper build, you could just drop this in and have instantly 2,000 like regeneration. If you have this next to like a sub scraper, and then you just have it does its job very well, but very rarely do you ever want this item. But I mean, its floor, although is technically 0, the only time you'd ever buy it, it has a pretty high floor where you just get a couple hundred regeneration at the second 0 of the combat. But that's not even the most impactful thing if you're not actually killing them. So it's a little bit of an awkward item, but I think it's still like I've won lots of boards with this on it. A lot of 10 wins with this item. I am tempted. Here's the thing. This is weird for me. I have to do 2 things back to back here. We'll find it really quick. Where is the private hot springs? Quickly, someone find it. Quickly, someone find it.
You were just on it.
Here we go.
It's right there. Up.
Okay. This is an awkward spot for me because private hot springs I think is objectively better than cold room, but I think they might both be S tier. I think it's the best item in Pig. I don't know if this is also S tier or if this is like this item is just better than everything else and so it's A tier. I think it's probably S tier though. When I started this list, I planned on putting this in A tier, but I'm looking at A tier. This is better than those items. Even if it's not like I think this should almost be like an S plus. Maybe we do that. Maybe we add a row
I
above.
was like, you can make an S plus. The funny thing is, I would put it in A tier because I like never play it. I have a hard time finding space on my board for it.
For cold room?
A couple of times I have played it. It's great.
I don't think I've ever not bought this item when I've seen it, unless I literally had no way to afford it. Even at silver, the only times that I've there's probably been literally one time. If you hit level 8 and then you find this at silver and you already have a board going, it's very awkward. But if you get that level 7 silver to gold thing still coming up, like you're still level 6, you haven't hit level 7 yet, this is like, ooh, instantly turn this to gold once you hit level 7. You can find it so early, but even it's just good. It's still, even at silver, it's an okay fun stopper. It stops these infinite builds from going crazy. I think it is an S tier item, but I think private hot springs is S plus. This item is like freaking busted, man. This item is so
To be clear, I'm talking about private hot springs.
Oh no, private hot springs
an A item for me.
This item
So
is
like you get what I'm saying?
this item is
I
S
play
plus,
cold
bro.
room. I buy cold room every time I see it.
This item is I don't think that I instantly go from like having a build to just like I can't lose anymore when you get this. In order for them to beat private hot springs, they need something broken. Even like desperate whatever where they defrost all their stuff, it doesn't matter because that only triggers at if they're at half-life. If you manage to get them to below half-life before that even triggers, but it freezes everything for 3 seconds, it instantly pops off a bunch of times. It's a property that every time you freeze anything, you get a 4-second charge on a 6-second item. If you get this below 4 seconds, it's a yo-yo for freeze. And there's a lot of ways. There's the skill that freezes every non-weapon item at the start of the fight. The second the fight starts, you just freeze them. You activate this like 7 times on second 0. It's frozen, but after it unfreezes, it works with itself where it just triggers itself a million times. It also gives you, it does a lot of burn and it does a lot of regeneration. It's like this item, I think you read it and you're like, that sounds really strong. and then you use it, you're like, this item is fucking bonkers, bro. I think Cold Room took
Yeah,
all of the heat.
I'm gonna have to try it more. I think the issue that I find is I'm just undervaluing it. So because it's gold only, well, gold and up, right? I don't find it till late game. I already have like put a ton of resources into my fixer upper or something, right? So I feel like I already have a board, and I'm like, do I want to spend the 24 gold and then shelve it for a little bit until I decide that I have the right synergy for it? What do you do in those situations?
I would say, I mean, I just had a run and I sold I think like an 80 value fixer upper or something like that. I was like, get it out of here. I'll take the $80, please. Um, there's almost no situation outside of like an Odlotto build that I would not just pick this up and use it. I think it is such an instant guarantee win item that freeze through everything for 3 seconds when you're on half life, especially if you have anything like matchbox related, because every time this triggers 5 times or whatever when everything freezes, maybe more depending on its cooldown, then matchbox triggers a bunch of times, and so they're just sitting there burning for 3 seconds. They don't have anything. I beat the amount of things that you see that are so broken on the other board that you just beat, like they had like a frozen glacier, sorry, they had a burning glacier at like 50 burn, and it's like I destroyed him, and that didn't even get frozen. I don't even know how I won. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know how this item is so good. Um,
All right. Well, for everybody like me that thought this was an A tier item or lower, throw a like on the video for Plat, because this is the only place you're getting these kind of like details about playing cold pig, frozen pig, whatever you want to call it, because Platt is really destroying the ladder with his win rate right now. He has a better win rate than I have, which is pretty impressive.
the only time this item is bad is if you're going up against like not even one weapon Vanessa is fine, but one weapon sniper Vanessa, HP pig, something that just hits you for 30,000 damage. You know, something that just instantly kills you, even if it takes like if something kills you in one hit over 20 seconds. That's still pretty bad for this build. Like a boulder, it's not very good against. Well, maybe because they have a bunch of other stuff they're doing. But if they, even if Vanessa, they have to hit you 100 times, but it just activates every second, you still usually destroy them. Because once you get that freeze off, you just instantly burn them for 600 and they just, um, yeah, it's a broken item. It has its weaknesses. We're getting one shot, but I mean, oh no, a build weak to getting one shot by 50,000 damage. What, how crazy. Um, I don't think this is S plus, but I do think this is S. I think Ledger is a S tier item. Probably, I don't know if it's as good as Belt or Caltrops, but this is an item that is, I think, stronger than I thought it was. It just gives you, you never have to really worry about money. You get to build value on all your important things. You know, if you have something you want to build value on, this is great at it. And if you don't, it just makes you a bunch of money. It's a great item. You should pick it
It's
up.
so much better than I thought it was. I I didn't really think about using it on two different items, right? And then you start doing it, and you're like, "Oh my word, I can scale something and just have infinite gold." Because you just buy any property, stick it on the other side, and it's gonna just create value.
Yeah, the only time I don't like this item is when I have two items I want to scale up, and I'm like, man, I want the money now. You know, it's like because I want to be able to sell the thing for money. But like this makes going to like the chocolate bar vendor, going to the gumdrop vendor guy like profitable. It's profitable usually while you're still scaling your power in another way. Also, like it could be tough to fit, but if you have this on lemonade stand, you just feel like I'm just getting HP, I'm getting money, I'm getting scaling. It's a great out of combat item.
Or pawn shop.
I think Crook is A tier. I think Crook doesn't compete with the current S tier stuff. Because I feel like it goes hand in hand with a Lottle. It's a if a Lottle is broken, it's because Crook is broken, and if Crook is broken, it means a Lottle's broken. I don't think either of them exist without each other. I think Caltrops is better than Crook.
I think a Lotl is better than Crook. I think a Lotl can be played in other builds like Pig's Gym and some other like ramping builds and stuff. But I'm not a fan of Crook right now. I think it's so hard. You have to like hit gold Crook by like day 5. It's just tough. There's a lot of like big pigs out there shielding for tons, healing for tons, destroying these builds unless they're very good.
Yeah, it also is really weak to cold room. Like in general, the crook builds, because they're trying to use a lot of like medium items that don't actually kill you. They just do a good amount of damage. Like I don't think I could lose to a crook build in like a freeze, build, unless they have some insanely nut like go off. But it's not where it was. Crystal Bonsai. I think this item has gotten a huge buff. This item is way stronger, but I don't know if it's like higher than B tier. But you could buy this. Probably not on. No, if you get this on like day one, like you just get free 6 to 12 gold, because every time you win a fight with it, it gets 6 gold. You can't. I think you can never lose your first day fight as long as you don't fight like the Viper. Even if you're on an empty board, like you could beat the burn guy. And then it gets 6 value. Also, like I've won a game with this on my board, and it healed for like 400. Like it keeps scaling like crazy. A bunch of free money with this, but it does permanently get destroyed if you ever lose. So, but still low investment.
Well, I think it's insane. I would put it in the bottom of A tier.
Okay, I think that's fair too. I think it's just a bunch of free money. Although
Yeah,
in the late game, even in the late game, I'd take it. Is that Pygmalien's hand he's holding,
and
by
they
the way?
heal for a good amount. Like in the early game, it's still better than succulents. So it's
Hmm.
like if you're playing a build with Matchbox or whatever, it's so easy just to slot that in. Unlike the difficulties I had with the boomerang, where it makes my board worse, right? Because I'm playing a lot of these Matchbox builds. It actually doesn't decrease your strength at all against the PvE encounters.
Yeah, not in any like, yeah, not at all actually. Um, I think this is an S tier item. I think double whammy. Is it? I don't know. Is double whammy or Lion's Cane better in your mind? This is one that I honestly I'm
Learning way better.
You think Lion's Cane's way better? It does less damage. Um, it does less.
Yeah, but how much less? Look it up real quick because Lion's Cane is
It's
20 at Diamond, and
it's a flat 5%, I think.
yeah, it's
Uh,
5%. It's nothing.
it gets 20% at Diamond, and then double. I guess I could just on whammy. Okay, is it actually tied at Diamond? 20% of your max health.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I knew that Lion's Cane is way better. It's 2 slots, and
It
I
does
thought it was
go.
5%.
It does go from 10 to 20%. Okay, and it gives you. Okay, I'm gonna put so double whammy is the multicast is huge. Um, and there's like double whammy has some advantages. One, it's cooler. Two, it also there's like a few skills that are like double the damage of your large weapons, right? Like that those are very real things, but I think on an average run, Lion's Cane is better. It giving you permanent HP whenever you level up may not sound like a lot, but it might give you like an extra 500 HP by the time you get it. Something like that if you get it, around level 10. Yeah, no, it's good. If it doesn't one shot him, it's a little awkward. Double whammy always one shots. Um, so typically double whammy will get a 2-second like advantage. I think this is 12. This is like 7. So if this has to activate twice at 14 seconds, this activates twice at 12 seconds. But you're right. It's
Yeah.
also a medium item versus a large. So I think that's
Yeah,
pretty
and you
fair.
can play it with uh, Port, and then it has double cast.
Yes. Which is good. In fact, we've talked about Fort a lot. I think Fort is S tier. I think Fort is borderline S plus, but I don't think it's quite there. But Fort works with that.
I would put it at whatever the top rank is. I think it's the best enabler for like. There's so many builds that just don't exist without Port,
The
that are extremely powerful. Like Cash Cannon goes way down if Fort didn't double cast it.
I think Fort
At
is,
Diamond.
I said it wasn't S plus, but the thing is like if I don't have hot springs, I'm looking for Fort. It's one of these two items I want. I mean, I always want cold room in there as well. I think cold room is almost that good too. But Fort is like if you get a diamond Fort, it also double casts the hot springs. Oh man. The Fort is so good that if I have items like maybe cold room, or if I have something like this, or I have the sauna, like I will consider not using cooldown reduction items in case I get a Fort one day. Like that's a powerful item. It gives, if you guys don't know, I don't know if people use Fort. I use Fort nonstop. This shit is insane. reduce all item cooldowns, yours and your opponent's, by a second. And then when you hit 8 seconds, you get multicast. It may not sound that strong, but it should, because multicast is
And then
insane.
it goes to 2 seconds at diamonds. Yeah. So cray cray. Um, 4 is so good that if I have a 6 second item that has not been reduced or whatever, um, then I will spend the level up option um increasing the of getting it to diamond. Anyway, you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Upgrading it. And
Yeah.
I never do that on any items. There's so few items where I think it's worth it to not go for the skill. But I think if you can, if it's the difference between getting something to double cast or not, it's just
Think about an item that is 7 seconds or 8 seconds and triggers once, and now it's 8 seconds and it triggers twice. That's that's a lot. This item is so good that I wish knee brace was in the game in its old form. I wish I had the old knee brace. I don't want anyone to use fort because it's my item. But if this is what's so cool in fort matchups, it stacks. So now your things that wouldn't normally get it are gonna get it. All items could be increased by 4 seconds, and so it's like they're freaking. The yo-yos are multicast and stuff, right? The Adlattles could get multicast if they're not high enough. You never know, man. I love
you have
fort.
multicast of your matchbox. Yeah.
I like Dragon Tooth, but I mean, I do not think it's like an A tier item. Weapon pigs, I think, are too weak in general. Um, it is small. It was really good when Cargo Shorts was good because it's your only dragon item. But I don't. It takes a lot of money, man. It eats up a lot of your money for items that are probably not worth it. Things like cash cannon scale way more already. This scales off your HP. The good weapons scale off things that aren't flat damage. I feel like this would be better in like a weapon Vanessa or something than it would be like any Pygmalion build. Like, I've used it to some good success to help you get your Adlotl where it needs to go. If you have like you're having trouble finding a gold crook, you just have it like silver or something. But it's a
I think
cool
that it's
cool item.
worse than Beast of Burden, personally.
Mm, I will say it's good with Beast of Burden. Like, suddenly when you get 10, 5 damage on Beast of Burden is a lot. Um, yeah, if they got rid of the gold cost at Diamond and it made it like 10 attack, I'd bump it up to B tier, I guess. But yeah, you're right. Fixer Upper, I think it's got to be S tier. It's one of Pig's 3 best builds. Although the freeze pig build has like 4 variations, but it's all kind of in the same wheelhouse. Also, fort with Coldroom is really the big interaction. That's insanely powerful, by the way. This item is not meant to double cast. But yeah, HP pig is huge. Fixer upper pig is huge. You kind of need to be able to do something with the shield because it won't win on your own. If you can get this enchanted, it's so good. You really want this enchanted with burn or poison to just convert all the shield directly into damage, but you could always use the spike shield as well. But it also enchanting this thing, I would enchant this with anything because it increases its value, right? Which is just very good. It seems like an S tier to me, right?
Yes.
I think flail is, if you're running crook, you're running flail. It's the best medium weapon outside of Adlotl. Also, I think this has an advantage. The reason I'm going to put this A tier is because this is like pretty much the best thing Pig has on days 1 through 3. If you're on days 1 through 3 and you're having trouble winning, like a flail with a Ganjo or a weights is like just good. It's a triple cast 7-second item. This does a deceptively large amount of damage early on. It typically falls off and never makes it to the end of the board, but like I love early game flail. Triple cast. Triple cast is a lot. But it falls off. Is it better than Cash Cannon? Probably not. Cash Cannon, I think Cash Cannon is better than Crook.
I agree.
It's probably not better than a bottle on average. I don't know. There's a lot of items. There's gonna be nuance here. Ganjo, I think this is S tier. I think this is it, and I never wanted on my board on day 9 and 10. But like this is the entire cornerstone of Pig not losing the first 4 days. This item is so important to not losing. It's the only thing that gives Pig a fighting chance versus like normal Vanessas or like even medium dualies. Otherwise, you just get slapped. This item's very good. It falls off for sure. But like this might frequently be my first gold item. I'll just use my upgrades on this because still like it gives everything, every 5 seconds it gives adjacent things plus 20 attack, defense, and healing. It's great with bird, it's great with flail, it's pretty reasonable with things like fixer upper. You pretty much always want Ganjo. Um, it's arguably way better than weights for a while, but weights has way more synergy, so it kind of depends on what you're going for. But I think I'm gonna
Yeah,
put weights.
it's the day one item, right? So if there's something
Yeah.
I want to see on day one, it's Banjo.
I think there typically becomes a point where you're done with Ganjo and you want weights if you want this type of item. So I think they're kind of similar and interchangeable. And in fact, I'm not even joking. I've had a lot of day 2 builds. I'm running weights and Ganjo. I'm running both of them with like a flail or something. I'm like, it's good enough. Let's go. Like I don't know how many board slots I have, but I'll have this, and I'll have like a Ganjo, and then like I'll fit a bird on there or something like that. Like early on, and it's like that shit's good. Is very good actually. It's also good if you get an early beast of burden if you could put both of these on. Um, they're even better when you get enchanted items, but because every now
Yeah,
and then
I
you
don't
get
know
a
if I'm
free.
doing a day two, but as soon as I have a decent sized board, I'm playing both of those with like three other items.
Yeah, no, they're just worth getting. Gavel, this has got to be a D tier item. It doesn't read like a D tier item to me, but I don't think I would ever use it because it could hit you, but it does 500 damage after 9 seconds. But that's so slow. I don't know. I don't. This item feels weird to me. I'm like, I don't ever want this.
Yeah, and then you run into somebody who's high rolling and just has more HP than you, or is out aggroing you, and by time this casts, you have lower HP,
All right, let's get
and
through
then it
some.
hits you.
Let's get through some. I wanted to say some bad ones. Here's a bad one. Uh, Lumbors. This item sucks. Absolutely terrible. It's too slow and it scales way too low. Like you don't. Old Warrior made us think this item might be good because I think he had it, or he at least has it now. But it's still like, if you could like permanently haste this, sure, it's fine. But like, what item isn't better permanently hasted? When it has half the cooldown. Pygmalion's dagger. This is so sad. I think this item is actually D tier. It's just it's too slow to it takes too long. It's gold only. And every time you sell an item, you get one value, and then it has damage equal to its value. Oh wait, now you've invested in it, you got a diamond version. It gets 2 value. And it's still I think it still does damage equal to 1 value. Okay, it does quadruple basically because it gets double the value and 2 value. But it's like that's a diamond item. And is one of its main draws that maybe you'll sell it one day for getting all this value. I don't know. It sucks, bro. No way. Um,
Yeah, can we speed run some CD items real quick?
that's what I'm trying to do. Kirakuki, this item
Okay.
sucks. I wouldn't use it. Golf clubs, I think
Uh,
is better.
we don't have to give a reason for some of these. It's like you suck.
You suck. All right, let me look at. Okay, landscraper. What do they do to my boy? I'm willing to put landscraper above vineyard because it is objectively better. I think, but it's
Is
fucking
it still
close.
glitched?
Yeah, I didn't know it was glitched.
Yeah, remember you weren't getting value over your hours
You're
at one
right.
point.
I don't remember if it does have that. Ointment. I think I can't put ointment. No, no, no. It's D tier. It's like ointment's not bad if you don't have bandage, if you don't have succulents, if you don't have bird, if you can't find anything else. This is the one you'll use, but it's literally the worst possible that you would instantly replace. Because it not only does it heal the least, it also has a 6-second cooldown. I don't know why. Um, slingshot. I think Slingshot is C tier. Day 1, it's actually reasonable because it has a high base damage. But it only has like 2 shots. Tusked Helm, it's a meme. It's just bad. It's 10 seconds for a multicast, and it has no, like, yeah, this with Ganjo is good, but that's because Ganjo is good, not because that's good.
Reset.
Let me take a look of anything that I think is like, okay, T-Set is fucking trash. This might be Atlas Stone level. This might be worse than Atlas Stone. It's like 7 seconds to get 5 max HP. Shut the fuck up. I don't want you in my party. Ever. You're not invited to my birthday party. I think those are the worst items. Maybe Monocle. Monocle is probably C tier though. It's not as bad.
I'm not a
Um,
monocle player for sure.
Ice Truck is pretty bad. Like out of all the
What
freeze
what
items,
about
it's probably the worst.
what about the hammock?
Hammock's fucking trash. Where is it at?
Up in the middle.
Up in the middle. There we go. This item is bad. Is it T set bad? I don't know if it's T set bad because it has this. In theory, I was looking for a hammock on my build yesterday, but it was specifically the frozen one from that guy, Chili Charles. So I'm like, because there is a default frozen one in the game, pretty semi consistently to get. The frozen one is probably B tier, you know, like which is probably not a good indicator. Um, there was one more really bad item I just saw that I want to see. You know what? Money Tree. I think Money Tree. I'm gonna upgrade you to B tier. I think I've been surprised that how much healing you can get on this. Um, I don't know. It's probably not better than Cargo Shorts. So, but it could. Is it better than Beast of Burden? No, you're right. You're right. You're right. It's not better than Beast of Burden. It's better.
Yeah.
It's. I think it's better than these. I think it's better than those. Grinding Wheel. Why do you exist? I don't know why this says like it's a 4-second cooldown to give one item 10 damage. This is a 5-second cooldown to give 2 adjacent items damage, shield, and healing. It just doesn't. This item sucks. I don't know why. It is as bad as it is. This
What
item,
about Yes, there you go. That's you hate that one.
I think it's not as bad as these though. I thought this was the worst item in Pig, and then I remember T set and Grinding Stone exist. I think it's better than.
I'm
Here's
a
the
T-set believer. I'm just throwing it out there. It's every time you heal, get +5 max HP permanently.
yeah, but you gotta. For me,
I
it's
used it in
kind of.
PvE.
For me, it's like the stupid the boomerang thing. It's like I make myself so much weaker that I risk losing just to farm up like an extra 20 HP when Pig already has
That is
so many
true.
good things. Um,
What about the shawl or the robe or whatever that is?
the robe, I know where it's at. I found it. There we go. It's C tier. It's not that bad. It's not very good though. Every what is it? It is just called robe. It's 6 seconds. It gives your shield items plus shield for the rest of the fight. It's whatever. The thing where it's good is like there's a few of these items that have sneaky enchantments that are kind of good, where now it gives your burn items, but that's still like a bad version of the weights. The weights does that exact same thing. Overall, yeah, not super into it. Um, I think the dog is C tier. I think if you find the dog on day one, he has the potential to be good. Maybe you find him on like silver day two, but it just so quickly falls off. There's 80% of the run, it's very bad to get. Um, but there's no doubt. Like when you used to start with a silver item, dog was great because you start with a dog. You're like, this is set up. It's like a Regal Blade, you know. Um, but Regal Blade, I think, is
Uh,
way easier to scale in general.
oh, okay. I was gonna say yeah. I'm a Regal Blade enjoyer. Um,
I don't know. Regal Blade's probably a solid B tier. Um,
it can be, yeah.
it just scales pretty fast. The dog gets like 2 or 3 attack per small item. This is like you only have to buy the weapon, and you just happen to get a bunch of weapons. Like it's not hard to get this thing up to like 400, 500 attack pretty quickly.
How
Um,
about drum?
Drum is the thing is I've been winning with Drum, but I don't think it's good. I think Drum
Like
is
drum and igloo are like two of them where I'm like, these can't be good.
yeah. I did just have on the last run that I showed you where I like last night where I got the 10 win. I had Igloo up until day like 9 because like it was the frozen item, you know, it was what I had. And then the second I got Hot Springs, I replaced it. But Igloo is definitely like this is you're scratching the bottom of the barrel here. You do not. I would run Igloo over the ice cream truck probably because it's a property, but it's close. I might run ice cream truck more. Um,
I wish ice cream truck. Wait, is it not a property?
no, it's a vehicle.
That's horrible. It should be a vehicle property.
I agree because it literally is like I mean food trucks. Food trucks are kind of property, right? Um, the pepper
Oh,
spray.
the poor ship in the bottle.
What's wrong with shipping the bottle?
I don't think it's good.
Mm, here's the thing.
It
Pepper.
was
Let's do.
really good for a few minutes.
let's do pepper spray. I think pepper spray
Sure.
is totally a fine item that you just have. You never are looking for pepper spray. You just put it on the board sometimes when you have a small item slot. Um, ship in a bottle. Where you at? Ship in a bottle. Call me.
Uh, row 2, middle.
Row two middle. Boom. Um, it it's a very awkward item. Like if you take a look exactly, yeah, you know what? It was good for a little bit, but if I know we're not going too long into this, I promise. But if you look at Pygmalion toys, where's Pygmalion? There we go. Like it. Okay, the thing is, it is good with Piggles. I will admit that. It makes Piggles good. You could use it with Booby Trap, but that's basically it. Because like you think like, oh, marbles, but Marbles cares about using adjacent items. Yo-Yo cares about using adjacent items, so it doesn't really work. It's mostly Snow Globe cares about adjacent properties, so it could replace a property. But it's mostly to make your Piggles good. And Piggles are already
Yeah.
fine. But like if you have if you have this and then you have two Piggles and you're using a Matchbox, it's because Matchbox is good. It's not necessarily that all that other shit is good, but it definitely
Yeah.
could
It
make it into a
work
build.
with call cost, right?
By the way, is Matchbox even on here? Yeah, it is. Let's just
Yep.
let's stop dicking around. Matchbox is, I don't think it's quite S plus. It probably is. It probably is S plus. It's disappeared now. It's not working on my screen. I'm not gonna reload yet. You know what? I gotta refresh it. The screen's frozen. There we go. Okay, I think it is probably S plus. I don't know. This is a bugged item, so we'll just refresh when that does that. If I think about every build that's strong, this is the best item in every single build of Pygmalion outside of Weapon Pig. It's been S plus since day one, but there wasn't enough support for it to be good a lot of times. Like you just could not get burn on this item, and you couldn't trigger it enough. Plus, things like yo-yo and stuff were like a little more broken. But I remember
And
being
you can
like,
duplicate it.
yeah, you could duplicate it now. That's pretty busted. Um, is there anything else you think is bad here? Succulence is probably a C tier. Eh, Succulence
Yeah, I
might be
mean,
a it might be. I don't know. I don't know if Succulence is better than Beast of Burden, but I run it a lot. If you get it enchanted in the beginning of the game, it's really fun. But really fun does not make it really good. Sometimes you get a 200 HP Succulence, and then I'm like, that's pretty good. But a lot of times, like you just find it later, and you're just like, hey, a 4-second heal item. These don't count,
yeah.
right?
What
We're
about the snowmobile?
man. The thing is, I actually think Snowmobile is pretty good, but the issue is when you have the build that makes Snowmobile good, you're just better running Matchbox. So I think Snowmobile is probably B tier. Like, I actually don't think it's a bad item. There's a couple places it could go, but once you have like this shit, there's no room for Snowmobile. Like, you might temporarily put it in if you have like a gold cold room and you have a, if I have a gold cold room and I have the snow globe, I would probably put um I'd probably put Snowmobile in there. If you have Drum, it's okay too. Like it has a bunch of spots it could go, but it never quite makes the cut because of things more powerful
I've
than it.
never bought one. Like,
If you could do enough freeze triggers, like it's pretty good, right? Like the thing is with Hot Springs, it's great because this instantly goes off like 4 times as well. But Hot Springs is just so much better. You'd rather have more freeze triggers than having a thing that cares about freeze triggers. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good, but it just never quite makes the cut in the more powerful builds. It's been a few seconds for you, but it's been 24 hours for us. If I'm wearing the same shirt, then that is it's an illusion of the camera. All right, club. Ice Club, we have a little more time today, so I'm not as much of in a hurry as we were as speed running the last one. I think Ice Club, I don't think it's quite S tier. Man, it might be S tier. I don't know. The thing is, it falls off later in the runs. Um, like the earlier you get this, the more insane it is. Like you literally can't lose on like day 5 or 6 with this because like if you freeze anything, you just smack them and kill them in one hit. But eventually, you go up against a pig with 15,000 HP, and this can be a little slow. But it is definitely a really good item. What do you think about it?
yeah, I mean, I think it's better than like Crook, and I think it's worse than Double Whammy. So I'm comfortable with this.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is I usually look for this item. The issue with this item is that I don't go to weapon shops on Pig ever without unless I specifically have membership card, rewards card. I don't want to go to weapon vendors because most of the time the only weapon in S tier I think is the HP one, and this shows up in other shops anyway. So I don't. It's hard to find this item. And then when you go to the
Yeah.
large vendor, you might find it. That's typically where I find these items. Um, Globe, I have a hard time. I don't think Globe is A tier, but I think it's like a solid high B tier item. Like it's a medium slot, 8 gold at silver, and then it just gives you 100 HP every day. Right? I mean, this probably gives you, I don't know, 500 HP over the course of a run. It's a little bit drip fed. It's probably worse than knee brace in a lot of situations. Or is knee brace after every fight or after a player fight?
Fair fight.
Okay. So Globe is just better then. Never mind. Yeah, I don't think it's A tier though. There's better ways to get HP in Pig, but I think it's a pretty reasonable way to do that. I'll usually pick it up. Are you a
Yeah, I
Globe
pick it up when
believer?
I have room.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm as big on it as like I'm more of a um I don't know where it is, but yeah, I know you're not. I'm a cash register guy, and you're a globe guy, but I play both.
Yeah, cash register I would buy Globe over cash register, I would say 100% of the time. Um
It just
but
makes sense to buy it over for sure.
But cash register is like something that if I don't have anything in my inventory, like I'll end up picking that up. If I don't have anything where it's like, oh, I need to hold on. Sometimes I get to a point where it's like, I got the ring, I got loop, I got rewards card, I got membership card, I got a globe. I have like 7 slots of passive items. So I'm like, I'm not picking up cash register. Um, Gumball Machine is a very weird one for me. I think it's probably A tier for a couple reasons. Um, even though I hate this item. I kind of hate the mechanic of it always stealing my money. I don't like that the gumballs are usually the ones I don't care about. But if you get this early enough and you can afford it, like it will give your items a lot of crit. It will give you a lot of HP. It synergizes very well with something like Ledger. It's like if you have Ledger, this is really good in any kind of fixer upper build in general. I have plus if you enchant this, it does give you enchanted gumballs, I think.
That
Which you
is the one thing where I was like, that is where it gets crazy.
yeah,
If you get a fire enchantment, it gives you 2 burn on every gumball.
that's insanely unforgivably busted. That is unforgivably busted. The issue is like the only thing you don't want is the damage, any kind of damage upgrade. I don't know how things correlate to like I haven't really had like sell enchanted truffles to give a buff since they've made that change. It just doesn't really come up that much. Um, I think this item could be S tier, but it does cost a lot of money, especially if you it's better early and early on 2 gold a day. The gumballs don't sell for anything, so it could be a huge drain on your resources if you're not timing it right. But if you have like this, it basically pays for itself, right? Because even at silver, the ledger gives 10 gold back, and this will cost 20 gold for 10 balls, so it's still like not great, but it will help you stabilize. As an item itself, it's terrible. You don't run this on your board ever, but it can. I think is it a. I think it's a. Is it a property? I don't think it is. I think it's just a toy. Um, all these piggles though. Let's just look it up really quick. Gumball. It is. It is just a toy. Okay. My channel dashboard. No. All right. You think it's a solid A tier?
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. I think the upside of the enchantment, right? It stinks that you don't really have poison items in Pig because the poison does the same thing, but it's just not as easy to turn that into to value. But even getting like a couple shield, right, for every gumball,
My
can be good.
I have such a pet peeve with the game structure that Pygmalien has for his free event can get venom extract. He doesn't have a single item that has poison on it. Now, I've taken that and used it because if you start with the enchanted item start, you can get a poison item. And there's the rare chance you get the poison vendor. But if there's like, just like remove that shit, bro. Like, I don't get the ammo vendor. Why does the poison vendor show up? I mean, maybe the poison vendor, it's because it'll sell you enchanted items, or in fact, he has to. But I don't know.
Fine with the vendor, but
What?
the free event that should be taken out of the pool.
There's no way it should be there, right? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that makes me mad. Halady, this is unironically probably Pig's best weapon. Besides like the Lion Cane, because it's a 7-second multicast. The issue is it doesn't synergize with Crook. And Crook is the best way to actually get damage in Pig. I think this is better than Yo-Yo right now. Yo-Yo seems like it's trash somehow. It's just because you can't get any damage on these things, man. I think this is pretty good because like the main reason this is good is that if you are running early game Ganjo, like this is your weapon. This is the one you want to find. You want to find this and like a bandage, and you're like, I can't be killed. I'm a god right now. Here's the thing. I think this item stands out to me is really good because of how bad most of Pig's weapons are, and I'm like, this one's okay. This is okay. Woo! I think other characters would be. I think Vanessa would be happy to have this weapon, right? A 7-second, small item multicast. It's like a. You don't think she'd be happy? I would run this on Vanessa, and I'd be right. By the way, I'm not taking that out of B. You can't make me.
It's like Dooley has a medium a medium item that's been nerfed several times, and it's currently 5 seconds 3 multicast.
Is it that stupid missile pod? There's
No,
one
that's
that
a 7-second 3 multicast with burn.
because there's one that burns, and I'm like, sometimes I go up against them, and it's very early, and it's at like 11 burn, and without any burn skills, and I'm like, why is this burn so high? I don't even understand. Hatchet, after the truffle change, I don't think it's very good anymore. For 24 hours, it was the best item in the game, arguably, besides cargo shorts, because it gave you a spare chains and a truffle. So it was always money positive, and truffles were the old truffles that you could stack on top of each other and basically have infinite money if you kept getting them. But truffle's not that good right now. It's like fine. I'll buy it, but I think it's actually a nerf now that it gives truffles as opposed to the spare change because it doesn't give you the money up front. You could use it to instead boost your other stuff, but sometimes you don't have something you want to sell, so you kind of have to hold the money for a little while. It's fine. I still buy it. I think it'll be better because I bet the next pig pack has truffle synergy in it. And I think that's when this item will get a big revival.
I agree. It's one of those things that's really tough because it's like the difference of giving one extra item that's an extra sell trigger and an extra gold is huge, right? So
For me, this is
it's
like,
just
you know
like
what? This should go right next to briefcase. This is the same item in so many ways. Although this is probably a little bit better than briefcase.
yeah, it definitely is more flexible.
Hogwash. I used hogwash.
I've been using it lately.
Okay, so you kind of like it. I was gonna put it in C tier. Also, we changed this to C tier is can buy sometimes, and D tier is don't buy. These items are dog trash. Outside of day one, hour one, like I'll go to Andy if he shows up on day one, buy a Tusk Helm, buy a Brass Knuckles, just so I have a board of items. Because you're more likely than it's better than an empty slot most of the time. Sometimes it's not. Pig has if you have under 5 items, then you get like that bonus. So I've specifically not ran them to have 5 items. But Hogwash, this is the issue with it, is the 50 HP does not give you the HP. It gives you max HP, but it doesn't heal it. Which is so if you're which is like fine, but I used it and it felt okay, but it did not feel strong. I had a bird. I think the issue is I wasn't leaning into this hard enough. I think you have to kind of really lean into this theme because if you get the bird healing over 50, then you do actually kind of get that HP because it'll heal and it will kind of give you that HP and then it'll heal it right away. But if the bird's healing for 10, the extra HP doesn't really do anything. You need to be healing over whatever this thing gives you in max HP for it to really feel like it's actually making you more survivable. And its heal itself is very low. I think I would typically, all things equal, I would pick Lemonade Stand over this. Lemonade Stand also heals percentage and it gives you permanent HP outside of battle, whereas this gives you more HP inside of battle, but over the course of 2 days, lemonade stand probably gives you more than this could, you know?
Yeah, this is one of those items that you can't just play on any board. So when you're playing, uh, and I know this is going to sound counterintuitive, but when you're playing a uh, a weights and sauna build, right?
Hmm.
This goes great.
Yeah. It's very good with weights because you need to be able to increase your healing items to beat the threshold of this. Um,
Yep,
it's probably better
and
than
you
Lemon
just
Tree.
well, here's the thing, and if you want to move snowmobile down, I'm okay with that. But this is better than snowmobile by a lot.
I don't think so. I
Give
don't
me
know.
one time you use snowmobile effectively.
I can't give you one time I've used hogwash effectively either. So
But I have. I have a hogwash on a 10-win board.
I did have okay. I mean that's viable. I don't have a snowmobile on a 10-win board because the issue is snowmobile could make it on a 10-win board, but I'll always replace it with these items up here when they eventually drop. Um, snowmobile with drum and the snow globe, like it could proc very quick. It could proc more frequently than yo-yo, but it's not like broken. I mean, I'll put it. This is a co-op tier list. I'll put it one above snowmobile. That way you
Okay.
have it. That way,
Yeah,
even if it's
and I'm
in
fine with
your if
putting
your
one.
mind this is down here, if your mind that is, this is a compromise.
Yeah.
I'll let you have it
I don't
above.
mind even if you put, those 2 items as the very bottom of B tier because I do think that all 3 of the items behind those 2 items are better, you know what I mean?
Cargo shorts is pretty darn good right now.
I
Um,
didn't realize how good Cargo Shorts was. Last night, I played 1 run, and I remembered that I can make it a property, and I can use it with, like, VIP, and Indeed, and it was fantastic.
it,
I
it's
just ended up selling it for a lot of money.
it's like how that stupid junkyard spear. It's like, oh, for every small item, it gets a bunch of damage. Where it's like, oh, this is deceptively strong early in the game. This is like so much. You could just make this baseline so strong if you just don't sell all your items right away. Um, this could be like the highest numbers you can get without boosting stuff early on. And again, like you said, it's a property. It's just like properties and pigs and pig are so important because if you just get a VIP pass, eventually you cash this in for 50 gold. It's like it is kind of insane. I think hot stones is the definition of a B tier item. This item is never ever in a million years for me probably going to make it in a 10-win build, but it's like always a snap pick on day one. It's like the best day one item, and you just kind of it fits in. It does it. The burn is low. All right, I'll admit, but honestly, the burn still does a little bit of damage, right? If you have zero addition to it, it does 6 damage, 3, 2, 1, and then it kind of scales up pretty, reasonably, I guess. But honestly, that regeneration is so 3 regeneration every few seconds does so much work early in the game. So easy to replace. But I mean, it's such a solid small item when you have an unsynergistic build of just stuff that you're putting on the board. This is one of the best things you could have on there.
Yeah, I do wanna say that the burn never scales unless you have a burn skill or a matchbox, but this with matchbox, which you're always hunting for in the early game, is very strong.
Is great. I mean, it gets Matchbox gets 1 burn when it levels up. This gets 2 burn and 2 regeneration when it levels up. Um, so like whereas Matchbox, you almost never care about taking it to silver, like ever. In fact, in the early game, it's a bad idea because you can't accidentally double it then. This is always like, yeah, for 2 gold, if you get a second bronze one, you get 2 more burn and you get 2 more regeneration every time it activates. And again, yeah, because you're already trying to use things like Matchbox. You're trying to use things like Steam Ladle, probably just so you have it. Every of these the burn items stack so incredibly well together. Um, for me, this is definitely not an A or an S item, but it's like very solid B. I pretty much, I'll buy it anytime it's pre day 5, or if yeah, just in general. I'd buy it over Halady every single time, probably 100% of the time outside of a drum build, or a pig's gym, I guess. Pig even has Pig's Gym, but if Pig's Gym was a bronze item, I think Pig has a new potential fun build. I really think Pig's Gym should be bronze, maybe just make it even weaker, but he needs some help in his weapon category, I think. Like for
Yeah,
an
I
alt.
would like a weaker version of that available earlier. Yeah, I think that's the big issue is that you can't You don't have time by time you get it to really stack the damage. Or well, I
So,
mean, not the damage, but the
I mean,
co
and
the
again, I had a Pigs gym at like 200 value, and it just wasn't enough to win, like on day two, right? Because you don't get it early, and honestly, it's not a day 14 win build, right? Waiting 6 seconds to get a buff on your attack is not gonna. You're gonna be dead by then because they're gonna have instant procs. But it's really good from like days 6, 7, 8. If you can, like, it's such a small window. It really needs to just extend the window earlier, I think. Um. Anyway, I don't know if we even talked about Pigs gym yet. Um. Luge, Ice Luge here. I think this is definitely an A tier item, but I don't know how. I don't think it's S. Um, but the thing about this item is it's just it lowers cooldowns. In case you don't, I guess I should explain what it does, especially for these ones that are newer to the game. It freezes adjacent items and then lowers their cooldowns by 1 second or 2 seconds. Um, this has I think, a 5 second cooldown, which is a negative because you can never multicast it with Fort. If you were able to get this, there are some situations where you can get this to multicast if you get like the lethargy skill, and then the one ammo actually will trigger twice, and you can make this reduce cooldowns by 4 seconds on two adjacent items. That's starting to look kind of crazy. But even baseline, if you freeze two adjacent items, each of them gets 1 second off their cooldown for a 1 second burn. Things like Matchbox obviously gets that back 10x. Um, Things with multicast get that back really fast as well. But also it is two freeze triggers. So it triggers all your synergies, right? It gives you 2 stacks for the steam ladle. It gives you multiple regeneration for the cold room. It triggers the hot springs. It gives it 8 seconds to charge, basically, or it depends on if it overlaps. It'll just instantly set it off. So it's an item with a good effect that also synergizes. Its only downside is it has one ammo.
Yeah, I want to give a couple caveats. I don't think this item by itself is an A tier. I would put it in B tier, but I think you have the ability to make it S tier, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, if played correctly, so if you can give it more ammo, right? And then, of course, if you can give it multicast. And one of the negatives that I would give about Ice Luge, unfortunately, is that you freeze the items. The cooldown reduction doesn't happen until after they fire. So if you have a 4 second cooldown on what you freeze, it still has a 4 second cooldown until it fires. Now, then it has a 3 second cooldown.
It's true. I mean, this is I will say every time I have this item, I've already found a matchbox, and this is very good with matchbox, right? Anything. It's also like I'll usually freeze cold room matchbox, things that have a artificial cooldown anyway. I will say for me, the biggest drawback of this item is that its cooldown isn't linear. It's like if you have an item that's at like normally it's 4 seconds, but it's having a reduced of like 25%, and you have another 6%, and then you reduce it by a second. It's like a second based off that 4 seconds. Like it's initial cooldown. It's not added on top, which is probably more balanced. But sometimes I've had this only reduce a cooldown by 0.4 seconds, and I was like, oh well, this sucks. Like it's not nearly as good when it does that. But still, if you have anything remotely in the freeze build category, it's usually worth one slot to just get a couple more freeze triggers because it's kind of two right away. But I think you're probably right. It's probably closer to B tier, and then sometimes it's S tier. But I think it's probably fine in the A tier.
Yeah, and I will give you when it's an example of when it's in the S plus tier because the matchbox reduction is the most important one, right? Because
Yeah,
anytime you can make something that fires many times 25% faster, it's going to fire. I don't know if it's exactly 25% more often, but you get the idea.
yeah, very very good
And
on this. If you get this cooldown to 4 seconds, by the way, from its normal 6 seconds, every time you freeze anything, it instantly goes off. This absolutely goes nuts when you have the ice
that's true.
luge.
Nobody plays it though because nobody has it.
It shows up every.
So
It shows up every run. I didn't show up my last run. I'll be honest.
Well, two things. One, nobody has the pack yet. Like everybody watching our videos didn't, get the pack yet, or you just got it because we just got to the point where if you don't have the subscription, you could have unlocked this by playing every day and doing your missions. And then my second part is it just never shows up in my runs, unfortunately. When it does show up, I take it. It's extremely good. But yeah, so the situation where Ice Luge is S plus tier is when you have the duped matchbox and you put it in between both matchboxes. It is it goes yeah, it goes, not infinite, but it goes to, internal cooldown, right, for both matchboxes.
This is, yeah, it's I never get double matchbox, and I always fish for it every run. I kind of leave it open as like, all right, I'll take double matchbox if it shows up. The item duping thing is probably too powerful, but I can't
It needs
consistently
to
get
go.
it enough to call it like I can't plan around it because it's not consistent enough. But maybe that makes it. I don't know if that makes it okay. It feels intentional. They I don't even know if they've not only have they not patched it. I don't even think they've mentioned it or addressed it. I don't know if
That's
they
actually
just
my biggest issue is that most new players don't know this exists, and they don't understand why so many people that they fight have double items. Because the traditional way to play the game, it's very rare to get double items. Like you've got to use like shipment. You've got to use the random crates that the
yeah,
chests that you get throughout the
you're
game.
not supposed to get double items. That's why they don't let items drop of different rarity levels than the one you already have because they're designed to instantly combine, so you can't have two of them. Um,
Right. But I
it,
don't like the fact that it's information gated. So like people just don't realize that if you take your upgrade hammer, especially for bronze, right? Because it's easy to get a silver upgrade hammer from it's not the mushroom event, but it's one of the early
and I
events.
hope they don't take that
Uh,
event out because it is nice to be able to upgrade more bronze items. Um,
Correct. Yeah,
do,
just getting rid of the dupes is the solution. Don't get rid of the event. Yeah, so you have a bronze item. When you see the second bronze item in the shop, you sell your upgrade hammer to upgrade your bronze to a silver, and now you can buy the bronze version and have both.
it's funny because we've played hundreds of hours, and we didn't know until like unless you're plugged in and watching like literally the top content creators, like Crit Perry and people that are playing it all the time. Like, there's a lot of little nuances to the game. Like, I didn't think that truffles could stack on truffles. Why didn't I think that? I just never thought about. It's one of those things that's obvious, but I didn't think about using them in that way. And that was clearly not what they were intended for. But same with like the item duplication, right? This is not what they wanted you to do. So the fact that you can see an upgrade an item, then buy a second copy of it is clearly not intended. I think they will get rid of it. I think they just don't know how yet. I think they're trying to figure out how to actually do that without destroying the hammers. Um,
Yeah, that could
Jabalion
be a tech.
Jabalion Longbow, I think is a B item. I think it's worse than Flail. It has a longer cooldown than Flail. The caveat is that like if you start as Pygmalion, you start with more HP than other people. So on day one, you have this. The thing is, yes, this is worse than Flail, but this has so much higher base damage. Like, this thing actually kills people early on. Like, I think we've all had an experience like we're doing good, and then this triple shot Jabali longbow hits you for 400 on day two or something. You're like, what the hell just happened? But it's it's not very good in the long run. But I think it is like a pretty reasonable early game item in general,
Yeah,
especially
because of
versus
how easy it
Vanessa's.
is. Yeah, because of how easy it is to upgrade um to silver. Like silver Jabalian longbow is 60 damage times 3, right?
Yeah, right.
and and that wins your first 3 days almost by itself. It's kind of crazy.
Oh,
180 damage, right? Yeah, it's right there. Just scroll down. Um,
yeah, it goes 30, 60, 120, 240.
yeah.
That's a
So
pretty fast scaling. I mean, it's a doubling every single time. Not a lot of items get a doubling every single time, I don't think. Maybe they do. But like, I'm used to seeing linear, like 1 second, 2 second, 3 second kind of things. Um, so this item is definitely good, but I would never like I would run it in a crook build, but I don't think it's better than Flail because Flail has a really short cool or has a shorter cooldown and it's always multi-striking. And a Lottle is like super fast. Um, I think it is more on the B tier category, but it's definitely something that I don't think should be overlooked.
yeah, it's just a really good way to get through your first 3 4 days.
Yeah, exactly. If you find it, you pick it up, you upgrade it. This is early pig is not about. Sometimes it could be all about the synergy. Sometimes you get the gold skill to give +9 to your matchbox, and you just don't care about anything other than getting the non items, right? The non weapon items. But to, you should hedge your bet. Sometimes just doing 180 damage in 9 seconds is enough to win. 180 damage, whatever it is. I don't know, fucking math. Jewelry. I think jewelry C tier. I like this item. It's one of my favorite small items. let me think if there's anything above this that's better. It's worse than bandage almost always. So I think it's probably C tier. It scales, it does 1, 2, 3, 4x its own value in shielding every 4 seconds. So it is a 4 second cool item. But this fucking is always like 4 shield. Like you have to put a lot of effort into making this not terrible. If you could like sell this to like move, if this worked as like a truffle, I think this would be like an S item. But you don't really want to be putting your value on this usually anyway. You usually are saving your value stuff for shit that you might keep. But there is a part of me that's like, this is a one size fixer upper. It has the same cooldown and the exact same text. So I don't know why it's not better. It's because it's not a property, I think. I think that's really what it comes down to. But it has 4 seconds, and this is 4 seconds. This is 4 times its value. This is 4 times its value. Neither of them scale their own value. This auto upgrades, yes, but this has the exact
Wait,
same effect.
can you pull up the card real quick? I didn't think it was based off of its value. I thought it was based off of your money.
No, no, no. You're thinking of the other one. This one is based off its value, 4x its value every 4 seconds.
Okay. I've never tried to increase its value. Probably because I thought that it wouldn't. For me, it's always like one one shield. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like
It
I use it as a trigger for Matchbox, and it's very good as that. I think it could definitely get away with like that. It could have the text of scrap on top of it, and it would just be an A item instead of a C item. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's weird because it's like it literally has word for word the exact same text as Fixer Upper. Shield equal to 4 times its value, cooldown 4 seconds, right? And then you look at Fixer. Shield equal to 4 times its value on 4 seconds. The only difference is this automatically upgrades. And this is a large instead of a small. No metric that I could think of really makes sense why this item feels like it always sucks. And every time I try to invest in it, I lose. I think it has to be the property thing.
Mhm.
I guess a property really is worth just that much. Because every time I try to invest in this, it sucks. You know what? The big thing, VIP Pass works on Fixer Upper. You're right. This can't use VIP Pass. It's way harder to scale the value of this. But it's like you read that text and you're like, how is this? Why is this a small item and this is a large item? What the heck? Um,
Yeah, it can't use deed either. So yeah, there's just too many issues with that. Yeah,
it could ledger increases anything. Oh, but it can't.
ledger
You mean
increases.
ledger increases the value of
Ledger,
anything it's next to, right?
what? No, it doesn't. It's only properties.
No, 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 no. Adjacent items gain value. When you sell 10 items, adjacent items gain value. So you can increase the value of chocolate bars.
Ooh,
That's what I usually do. I usually increase the value of chocolate bars and then sell chocolate bars. Um, but
I did not know.
it does not work with the balcony stuff. You can't double its value. It doesn't work with the master salesman thing where you could like double its double. So it's definitely worse. Even though to me it reads like it should be good. Key. I think this is a C item. I don't think at silver it's 12 seconds and at gold it's 9 seconds. It is kind of interesting that it gets a 3-second reduction as its diamond version. Um, I've had this item be one of the best in my entire board, but that is specifically if you're all in on like a fort build with like these long cooldown things. Sometimes just like you have 1 slot left. What's a better small slot item than activating your big giant things multiple times? It's like usually there's not always something better, but 99% of the time this is a terrible item to be running on your board. I would very infrequently buy it. Also, Pygmalien has 3 fingers and a thumb, and I would usually get this from the property baron guy. That's the only time I really get it, but it's okay. You know what? This item sucks. I'm gonna be honest. This is. I'm not gonna put it don't buy because this is actually like still like pretty good with your properties that are pretty good. Like if you have a couple properties, this is definitely better than things like Tusk Helm and Brass Knuckles. But you know what? I had this up to like 1,000 attack yesterday with the billboard. This was really good with the billboard going off every second. It's still not like a really good viable late game build, but like that, if you happen to get like an earlier billboard and you have this, like that's some real stuff. But you are still looking to pivot out of it. But so that's why it's going C. But that is a little bit of a synergy because billboard is a property that activates super fast. And if it's
Yeah,
at
I agree.
this can give haste to adjacent items, man. If you get the skill, that's so good. But it's not this good though. But it is
Mhm.
pretty good. I don't think it deserves to be that low. I think it's better than Dragon Tooth. I'm not too concerned with the left and right, like of the low tiers in general.
Yeah,
Um,
it's definitely better than everything in Don't Buy.
I think Lemonade Stand is A tier. I think you should buy this when you see it. You should make an effort to buy this when you see it, but you shouldn't make yourself go broke. But how much HP does this give you? Like, I mean, it gives you 10, 20, 40. I know that. Um, but it also goes up to 15% healing. Even if you keep it at silver, I mean, every time you get it gives you 50 HP for getting 5 free chocolate bars. I mean, it's maybe it's just like the highest B tier because it's so good at diamond. When you get 40 HP per small item you sell, this thing kind of goes nuts. Silver, it's a little questionable, but it is just free HP.
I liked where it was. I think it's better than Luge, and I think it's better than
It's really
Gumball
nice if you
Machine.
have the gumballs, right? Every time you give a
Um,
gumball, you're also getting the HP.
work together, and they're two of the best things to enchant, right? So this is another one where
Yeah, what does it do when it's
I believe
enchanted?
believe when it's enchanted with fiery.
This one just does the normal heal. It just based off its heal.
Oh, they fixed it. Okay, so this used to
Oh,
um
whenever you sold a small item, it gave
whenever
all your
you
things
sold a
one
small item.
burn, right? That's
Yes.
broken. That was way too broken. Um, I will say this is a way to if you don't get double whammy or you don't get the thing. This is an HP pig. You know, if you happen to get a burning lemonade stand, I guess, because it does heal based off your HP and then it burns off your HP. Then, that's okay. It's a good item. I think loop is gone down. I think it's like something that you always buy, but I think it's like I don't know. It just doesn't feel as good to me anymore. I don't like I loop versus ledger deed. I pretty much always take ledger. But I usually always have this on my board anyway. It's like fine, but I don't even know if it generates me. Maybe it's better than rewards card. Maybe it's like high B
Yeah,
tier,
it's
but
funny watching you move it up because um I don't play it um over the globe.
yeah. I mean, I like the thing is it's a small item, so I usually have room for it, and it probably is like early in the pig days. This felt like this was all your money was based on luge. I think it might have been silver back then. Maybe not. Maybe it was
It used
still
to be nuts back in the day. It was at silver, and then
okay.
they nerfed it to gold, and then they made it way worse than it is now, and then they brought back the power level, but now it's at gold.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's like it's good and I'll usually pick it up. You know, you hold it for a day or two, sell a bunch of gumballs. Like if you get it at Diamond, it makes your gumball machine free. That's real.
Yeah, I
Although I
will
thought
say it's insane at diamond, like
yeah,
for sure.
it is great at that value, but yeah, I mean it's a good way to generate money, but like by the time this comes online and is good, I feel like I just have enough money. Like I always end runs with pig with like hundreds of gold, you know, or like 150 gold. Early game could be rough because you're trying to spend a lot to get stuff, but like eventually you just snowball with the money.
Yeah,
Healing
I think my thing is I never struggle to have money. Having HP is something that I always want more of.
HP is so good. Yeah. But money is I actually yeah, I usually have too much money and I'm trying to figure out how to convert it. I think healing tents is probably this is what's tough for me. I think it's an A tier item,
When was
but
the last time you played?
I just played it a couple days ago with HP Pig because it heals you. The thing is, it's really good if you enchant it because all of its enchants are pretty cool. Because it'll like if you get this at diamond, it heals you 50% instead of dying, and then it deals. You can make it deal that much damage to your enemy. Um, it does. It just I have a hard time giving a multicast enabler a low tier because obviously if you're using like the weights like weights, matchbox, bird. It gives, and if you get a healing enchantment on anything relevant, this becomes really good. But maybe it's the highest B tier because it is like I'm usually passing it. I'm usually skipping it, but this has like easy potential to be an S tier item if you have like the right healing enchantment on something because it's just giving multicast to it. Um, I
I
think
do think it's the worst multicast enabler in the game, but multicast is still really strong.
I actually don't remember if this multicasts Cold Room or not. Um, I haven't had it come up that much because Cold Room is a freeze item, but it does regeneration. I don't know if it's coded as a healing item or not. If it multicasts that, then it's definitely an A, and I should be buying it more. If not,
Well, why don't you just look up Cold Room real quick to see if it's labeled? I don't think it's labeled as a healing item.
will this have that on there?
Yep.
Yeah, just freeze. It says regen. I don't know if regen counts as healing.
Well, regen is just separate from healing, yeah.
Okay.
Well, look up Tense and see if Tense has regen as a tag.
No, no. Okay. So it won't do that. Yeah, it's probably just a B tier. There's a lot of good things it works with. Like it is still good. Like with if you have like there's still the old build, right? You have the bushel, you have the bird, you have a matchbox, you have weights, and you're just getting and honestly hogwash. You know, if you have hogwash on the board, it's going to give you a lot of max HP. But now you're coming into board like space issues, of course. Um, yeah, it's probably the worst multicast enabler in the game, even though it's pretty good. Yeah, though it is so fun when you enchant this with Obsidian. It just feels so like, how am I gonna lose, bro? Then they have Life Preserver, and you're like, fuck. Um, I think I don't. I'm way lower on marbles than most people. I hate marbles, but I think it's probably an A tier item if I'm trying to be a little more objective. When you use adjacent items, you charge us a second, and when it goes off, you slow stuff. I mean, it's got to be one of the better Matchbox enablers. But again, I think it is worth viewing items like this through the window of Matchbox because Matchbox is a bronze item you can get early on. It all the time. You can get it pretty much every single run. And you're probably running this specifically if you're running Matchbox, right? This used to be a yo-yo enabler, but now you're not really doing that. So I think it's okay to assume you have Matchbox if you're running this. Um, it's good, but I still tend to replace it like midway through my run.
Yeah, I'm a hater of marbles as well. I would put it in B tier myself. Um,
It
I
feels
don't know.
it feels kind of like an A tier item to me based off how many times it activates. But
Yeah, it's just a 4 second activation.
I think
Like,
it's 5. But
well, it's 5, but then I like you're basically always getting at least 1 to 2
yeah.
seconds knocked off. You know what I mean from the adjacent items. Um, but obviously, like you said, it is really good with Matchbox, and you're gonna play it probably until what day 7.
Yeah, and I mean, I would play it until I find the proper large properties or like enough of these items up here. Probably
Yeah.
it's good. I mean, it's
So
good
I
because like if you
maybe,
have Matchbox Marbles
maybe
Bird, that's kind of like the goal, right?
maybe it is an A item. Maybe it's like the bottom of A, like you had it, because you only replace it with S or higher items, right?
Yeah, I can't think. I don't think I'd replace it with anything down here. I would replace it with Snowmobile sometimes, just for because I'm determined to make a build with Snowmobile. Um, but like, yeah, I wouldn't run Succulents over it or anything like that. Probably. If I don't have Matchbox, then I'm probably never running this ever though. Like, I just don't care. Um, this painting, it's borderline D for me. I don't know. I hate this thing. This thing is not a good money generator, but
You're sleeping.
it does generate money though.
I've slept on this forever, and for I got a free one, and I forgot about it, and it got huge.
It's like if I look at, you know what? I like it more than ATM. I'll give you that. I don't need to keep inventory. It takes 2 slots. I need to keep 4 slots for ATM.
Well,
And this
ATM is up above,
is
like
what?
so. ATM is in B, so let's move it up.
ATM's right here. It's in C.
That's a cash register.
Sorry, cash register, whatever. I think it's better than cash register.
I agree. I think it's better than Money Tree.
Money Tree is a little weird because it's not purely an economy item. In fact, it's almost not an economy item at all because it sucks at that like really bad. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm comfortable where it's at. I'll put it above Slingshot. How about that? Slingshot sucks.
Yeah.
I'll move Slingshot down here. Come on, the dog's got it. We don't need to rearrange these too much, but like Monocle, come on. Monocle, I almost feel bad having it here.
Monocle.
Monocle's got to be the worst of the C tier because sometimes it is good. This is the one that you were thinking of where it scales off your money.
That's the one that scales off.
This is the one that does the damage, right? This is the damaging
Yes,
one.
which is really good when you can use it. It's just so hard to ever use
This
it.
this is the thing. I put this in a don't buy category because you should never buy this. However, if you specifically have like a high value fixer upper and you have a Bob, then this is good. But it's like you should never buy this in hopes of you getting that stuff. This is like you buy it when everything, all the pieces are in place, and this is like this isn't even quite like Exodia. It's very powerful, but it's not like you're going to win. But it is a huge boost if you have a very specific. It's not a fixer upper build specifically. It needs to be a
No.
fixer upper with Bob. You know, you kind of because if you get fixer upper, whatever damage, shield equal to its value, that's still 1/4 as much as just doubling the value with something like a balcony, right? Because balcony doubles its value and it gets 4 times that value as shield. This gives flat shield equal to its value. So it's worse than any kind of value doubler. But if you have Bob, this will add hundreds of damage to Bob and it becomes good.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about why I believe it's bad for like newer players. So, I don't believe you should ever really worry about the shield text, right? So it does both shield and damage equal to
Yes.
the value of adjacent items. It gives it to them. Um, but you're able to generate shield with a lot of different tools already. To when we get in the end game, when you're actually thinking about buying this, that's not really an issue. As for the damage side, there's only one weaponized property, and it's skyscraper, and you're never going to see it, and you're not going to run it when you do see it. So it's outside of BOB or a obsidian property that also has a lot of value. You're never really going to run this.
Yeah, it's just I think this issue is like they probably thought there was a when they made this game, they were like, hey, we're gonna have a couple of properties that can attack, right? And they didn't. They don't. They have one and it's impossible to get because it's diamond only. Never ever ever see it. And when you do, it's you're not gonna pivot into that build because it's probably not good. Beast of Burden being a property sometimes is the only time this is ever any good. You're right. Um,
Yes, and I did get an obsidian fixer upper once, and it was good with that.
yeah, it's got to be insane. But like, yeah, there's certain items where I'm like, but if you enchant this with freezing, oh baby, it's like suddenly it becomes good. I think
I just want to let people know that like you can kind of use it because it doesn't need the enchant, but if you do run into an enchant on your property, it doesn't give it gives double, right? Because now the damage is going to get doubled anyway from the obsidian.
I think pawn shop. I think you can make an argument for it being S, but I think it's A tier. Every time you sell an item, it gets a value at baseline, and then you get 10 times its value as HP when it's on your board. It goes up to 2 value and 3 value at gold and diamond, and it gives you 15 times and 20 times. So you end up getting a lot of HP, especially at diamond. And if you enchant it, increases its value by a lot and has pretty darn good enchantments. The only reason I don't think I think it's like this is a cornerstone of HP Pig, which is good. The issue is it could be very hard to buy it when it shows up. So this item gets worse every day that you don't pick it up. So if you pick this up on day 6, it's always going to be worse than it is on, day 5. And so that could be a little awkward if you try to get it if you get it late and you're trying to then start using it. And even when you do get it early enough, you may not actually use it to get that much value. You may end up just getting some money out of it, and it takes up 3 slots in your inventory and can kind of sit there. It's a very very good item, but sometimes it could be very awkward to have the gold to buy a medium property that doesn't help you win combat early in the game. And if you don't get it early enough, it can just cause it to not be good enough. I think it is borderline S tier, but I just don't know. I think it's a little clunky where it kind of prevents it from being S tier.
I think you did a great job. Because even when you get this to really high, I don't remember exactly what I had, but I had like a 500 one, right?
Yeah.
But I never saw a higher than silver double whammy and a higher than silver belt. So I just ended up getting like 8 wins, and I couldn't really actualize anything.
I 100% agree. And then, like the worst case scenario is like, yeah, you could then sell it and then pivot your build into something else. But if
I didn't.
yeah, exactly.
I
Like
rode it
that's
till it died.
but I really think what really keeps is what I said is like it's stronger the earlier you get it, but it's really hard to spend 12 gold on a large property that you're not going to put on your board and help you win a fight. This is if you spend 12 gold on this on day 3, and you might just lose your fight because you didn't spend that gold getting more powerful in some way. So it's a clunky item for sure, but it is undoubtedly very powerful, especially when you
And
get
you
it
have to upgrade
enchanted.
it.
Yeah,
You cannot play with a silver one.
no, 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 no. You want to the early, like I'll hold an inventory full of spare change just in case I get a chance to sell it, kind of like with Lemonade Stand. Um, Pawn shop. Its upgrades are pretty insane though. It gives items like deadly. It gives all your items crit chance equal to this value, which means all your items have guaranteed crit always. 15% burn, 10% poison, heal equal to like all of its enchantments are good. And just by enchanting it, it gets the more value, so it just gives you way more HP. Um, it is a good item. I just don't think it's quite S. I have a hard time saying this item isn't S phonograph. It's like any perfect build, I feel like makes room for this. It reduces at 20. I will say at gold, I don't think it's S. I think it's probably A at gold. But if you get this thing to diamond, you spend your like level 11 upgrade or whatever it is to just upgrade this to diamond. 50% reduction on cooldown on any item in this game is fucking busted. It doesn't matter if it's on Matchbox, making it 2 seconds instead of 4 seconds. That's not a lot of value, I guess. But like, that's insane. Making the hot springs go down from 6 seconds to 3 seconds, making cold room go down to 5 seconds, 5 second cold room. 50% cooldown is broken on everything. I don't think it's S plus tier because gold is not uh insane. It's very good, but sometimes you may want to run a different item over it because it is taking the slot of an active item. But I think at diamond, this thing is like this thing is not okay almost. I'm like, what did you do? Why is this even in
Yeah,
the game?
it's very hard to like find a diamond one, or you have to use like a day 13 upgrade or something. So like it does have an effective cost, but it's so powerful, it's worth it.
Yeah. Like
Um,
like you said that you
APA
won't
cost
always
three.
use a item upgrade to upgrade an item from gold to diamond because the skills are powerful. This is one if I have this at gold, like I'll almost always take the upgrade because it's such a powerful effect.
I also think I've been under appreciating how good the upgrades can be, and I play a lot of builds where upgrading my stuff doesn't really matter as much.
Yeah. I mean, but even then, like even on like the hot springs, which I point to a lot, like it goes from 8 burn to 12 burn, and I'm like, is that much? And I'm like, that's a 50% increase. Like that's a pretty big damage output. You got to remember you're playing on the a 50% increase in your primary damage output is huge. So they upgrades are pretty important, except for Matchbox. One burn is like whatever. Like you could usually get that in some other way. Why is this thing always? Don't touch Matchbox. That item is bugged. Every time I click it, it crashes. Piggles. Pickles is very safely and it can buy sometimes. This is, I think Pickles serves a couple purposes. If you happen to get it diamond, yes, it can give you some actually powerful pickles. Even gold, it can give you some powerful pickles, and it does charge adjacent small items, by like 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. So that's pretty good. Primarily, what it's going to be used for is you get it really early, you get a couple shitty ass pickles just to have stuff that your Matchbox works with. Oh, and it crashed the game. Don't touch Matchbox. Um, it's usually because the pickles are only 4 seconds. They get multicast with the boat. So sometimes you just have like, 2 pickles, the boat, that's 4 slots. And then when you're at level, you get the 6th slots, you put in a Matchbox and like a marbles or something. And you just got like an insane Matchbox, even without a bunch of burn on it. It's typically a Matchbox enabler, but it does have some actual potential. Since they fixed the yellow pickle L, which used to give all your shield items shield instead of just the one to the left, it's definitely worse. But it's you can get it sometimes.
And they still have the glitch where you get a piggle when you lose or win against someone with piggles,
Yeah.
including the PvE encounters.
How is that? I thought it was a really, really cool flavor thing when you fought like the kid, whatever, the street gamer or whatever, and I got a piggle and the reward. I was like, that's really cool. Then I found out it's like a game wide bug, and I'm like, well, now I don't know if it's flavor. Now I think it's just a bug. Um, I don't know why. Um, that feels like something that they'll address for the main launch, I hope.
If it was only if you win, I would love the flavor, right? Because it's like
Hmm.
when you play like marbles or jacks or whatever, you know what I mean? And winner takes all, right? And it's like, so I beat you, now your piggle's mine.
So here's the thing. I know pickles are like dice or whatever. I will always just consider them candy. They're to me, they're just Jolly Ranchers. Like I know that's literally not what they are. They're dice, but it doesn't make any fucking sense what the game. I I dare them to make a lore, the game about this. What's the game? I don't want to know.
Yeah.
You don't tell me. Let them tell me. Um, let's put Yo-Yo higher up. Did you have something to say, or did you just want to talk about the bug?
Oh yeah, I just found out that when you're in the middle of a fight, it is possible to sell all of the stuff on your board.
Is it?
Like not even all your stuff. You can sell your stuff for no money in the middle of a fight. So people have been messing around with their 10th win boards and during the fight like selling the stuff off of like their board or whatever and then you can post
Oh
like
yeah,
basically empty board and you won.
you're right. Look at this. Yeah. Oh, I was like, oh, Pygmalion's dagger is bad. How come I won with a 3 damage Pygmalion's dagger on day 10? Or where
Yep.
you'll see that they have like 1,000 burn on them. And you're like, sell, 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 sell. That seems
Yeah,
like
I
that should
actually
be
think
an
you might
accident.
be able to do it after the fight but before you click continue. I haven't done it myself. I
That's
just read on
you're
Reddit.
right. You could just win the fight and then reposition your board and then sell your items on your final win. Why
That's
not?
right. And somebody just posted a knee brace only build,
Yeah.
and they got their 10th win, right? So,
Yeah, knee brace.
the thing that sucks about that is when you actually have a cool or unique board that you win with, now people are going to assume that you just messed with your board.
That is true. Yeah, I hope they fix that. I mean, I guess that's like, how do you fix that? I don't know. Because you want to be able to do it every other part of the run, just not on your final win. And you don't want to get rid of the ability to rewatch your final win, because that's fun. I a lot of times, like when I send you a video like I did, I make sure I win first and then I watch the replay. Like, look at this, I won. All right, all right. Hot take, Yo-Yo, not that good. It's B tier. It's better than Snowmobile. All right, let's not get crazy about Snowmobile. Um, but I don't even think it's A tier anymore. I don't even know if it's as good as Jabalian Longbow, honestly. It's too hard to get damage on this thing now. You can get, if
Yeah.
you get, like, yes, if you get a healing yo-yo with weights, yes, we're not talking about the same thing anymore, okay? If you get like certain perfect setups, but like even like the thing is, Ganjo is really good. You don't like Ganjo next to Yo-Yo because it has kind of a slow cooldown. It's like 5 seconds. It's like fine. If you get a Diamond Yo-Yo next to a Diamond Ganjo, yeah, it's gonna do some stuff, but that's still like cope in a lot of ways. You really want it to be getting scaled with weights or Pygmalions. Like the drum is like okay if you can get it constantly scaling. Like there are builds where it's viable, but the builds where it's viable are worse than completely different builds. Um,
Yeah, and it's hard to get it to diamond. For consistency, earlier, you did say that Halady was better than Yo-Yo.
yeah, but I don't know if that's accurate.
Okay, I just want to make sure we address that.
I will say, look how long that fucking string is, bro. That looks like an AI string. Like this all looks like it's normally made, and this looks like an AI background to me. I don't know. All right, we'll put Halady first. I don't think it really matters. But Yo-Yo has fallen
I
from
think it
grace.
is better than Halady, but I just wanted to I just wanted to throw that out there.
I don't know because this can go next to Ganjo, and I don't feel like an idiot. I feel like an idiot when I put this next to Ganjo because I'm like, I don't know. It's hard to know what's emotional and like because I've lost a lot of runs trying to make Yo-Yo work. Um, and I'm just like, oh my god, why are you like this now? You're so hard to get attack on. Um, Piggy Bank, I pretty much always buy Piggy Bank, but I don't think it's like, is it A tier? It's really bad at bronze. That's I think what's keeping it from A tier for me because at bronze it's net neutral, right? You buy it because it takes 2 gold to give you 2 gold, so you have to get it up to silver. If you have like a rewards card or something on it, it's like fine, but it's not it's a pretty good money generator in the mid game once you start finding them at silver. But I don't think it's like A tier. I'm not like this is changing my run. This is like, hey, this is like a nice influx of a little bit of gold. But sometimes it's great when you have like lemonade stand. Like, but I mean, I think it's just like a fine item. That's all.
It's hard to find the space in the mid game where you can get a decent amount of coins, right? Because it's like you might have 3 open slots, so you don't want to get its value over 3 because then you're just wasting value.
Yeah. So I'll typically get 4 or 5, right? Because you have 3 open slots in case you have a large item. And then it can replace its own slot, so it gives you a fourth gold coin. Sometimes I'll have a fifth slot, but sometimes I'll sell items to make room for more gold coins. It's not broken. It's like a fair item. It's actually a pretty good item, but I don't think it's like gonna change the economy of like your entire run. You know, it's like it's just a nice little influx of gold when you find it at least silver. Pinata. I think pinata's fine, but is it like it's just 3 chocolate bars, right?
It's expensive.
It's expensive and it's cost money and you get zero money back. I would give it S tier if its sound effects were like the main reason, because whenever you sell it, it screams. It goes ah! Every time you sell it. I really like that. I remember the patch they added that, and it's great.
Playing with the sound off, I didn't realize it did that.
Yeah, this is the only item with a unique selling sound effect that I've ever played. And when you sell it, they added it so this guy yells when like you throw him into the sale thing and he goes, oh, it's pretty good. I
I
like that a
love
lot. The 3 chocolate bars is not enough. I think if you gave 5 chocolate bars, maybe that'd be better. I don't think it would still be like busted. It's pretty
it.
hard
Would
to
be
justify
great.
buying this outside of like, oh, I've got lemonade stand, pawn shop, and I've got a loop, or I've got some specific synergy that I care about. I'm not just buying this baseline for the 3 chocolate bars almost ever. I need to have like again, like specifically ledger, pawn shop, lemonade stand. I need to have some specific reason I'm willing to buy it and then sell 4 items from one purchase. But that's what I think it's perfectly in a can buy sometimes. I don't think it's good though, at all. Pig's Gym. I think it's C tier. This item is not even like okay. I would say it's always so close to being good, but it just like we already kind of talked about it earlier. It has such a because it can't show up at bronze, and it's not good in the late game because of its relatively long cooldown. It just like it's always weaker than other stuff. This item is just weaker. Is a large item and it's weaker than Matchbox. So like I just almost never want to run it. It does give you and at silver it gives you HP whenever you buy a weapon, but like it increases its own value and it gives you HP when you buy a weapon. But like, how many weapons do you want to buy as Pig? Like, you're not going to weapon shops on purpose to spend money to buy weapons. If you could get this as bronze and you could kind of structure your whole run around getting this early and you start doing it, but like when I pick it up and then I start going to a bunch of weapon shops to make this stronger, and then I'm like, well, now I just have a bunch of bad items because I just have a bunch of relatively weak weapons. Because the good weapons, like maybe I'm running a crook build anyway because that's the good stuff. And then like, do I really want to run this and a crook? No, I want to run 2 medium items. So it just like it's one of my favorite items. I love getting value when you buy weapons. I love that it scales all your weapons. It's one of the best ways to scale weapons, but it's just not quite good enough yet. It's not good enough in the late game, and you can't get it early enough to really scale a build off of it, I don't think. Again,
Yeah.
I've had one at like 200 value or something, and it was like not that good. It was like, whatever. It could be a way you just buy this, like you could use it like lemonade stand, where if you find it early enough, you buy it, and then when you just happen to get free weapons from like because I think you get 20 HP and then it goes up to 40 at gold. So if you get it like gold version, then sometimes you're just going to get weapons from monster fights. Sometimes you're just going to get random weapons here and there. So it can give you an okay amount of HP, and then you could go into like an HP pig. But I don't even think I think it's a can buy sometimes. Like you almost never want to actually buy this item unless it's really early and you are planning to really kind of go all in on it.
Yeah, I think that they need to like do some sort of the following, right? Um I think they need to remove the HP option. It doesn't really have synergy with the weapon part.
Yep.
That way you can make it stronger and it not be like too good or whatever. And when you remove that, then you can like lower it down to bronze. You could lower the cooldown, by like a second or two. I would love this to be a staple of Pig because it has Pig's name on it. It's Pig's Gym. Um, Fixer Upper is the staple, like you know what I mean for Pig. I would much rather it be um, actually something named for Pig. That's not Pig's Fixer Upper.
Yeah, I mean, like the things that are named, like right, Pig's Gym, Pig's Dagger, Jabalian Drum, Jabalian Bow. These are all like fine items. The things like Fixer Upper, Deed, or Belt. These are the really powerful ones. So the things that you would think thematically would be the strongest in core items tend to be kind of weak in Pig. Um, but I think this item should be like a core. Like this should be the cornerstone of a weapon Pig build, not Crook. So I think they could change something on it to make it better. Rewards card,
Yeah.
is rewards card S? Probably not. It's probably A tier. Like I buy this every single time I see it, always, but I'm never like, it doesn't break a run, but it is so vital. I don't know if it feels S tier because it's like most of the time it's just going to generate you some money. Um, but it can go to damage. I don't know. Do you think this is A or S?
I think it's a high A. Like, is it as good as Balcony? Probably not. But it's better than Crook.
Yeah, it's an item you buy every single time, and unlike something where you buy every single time, like whatever it's called, briefcase, this is actually like good. Like you keep it with you the entire run. Until like sometimes I'll sell it early because like I'll find a really good silver item, so I'll sell it for like 8 gold, which I hate doing. But it's like, all right, I'll make this sacrifice, but that's rare. I really try to hold on to this for a long time, especially because like you get Fixer Upper, and it's like it's great with Fixer Upper. I will say the amount of times I don't put this next to Fixer Upper before going into a merchant is embarrassingly high. The amount of times I just lose value on this because I forget to position it. Um, but it's definitely just it's a great item.
Yeah, I
Uh,
like to put it on my board until fights, but that creates a different issue, right? Where sometimes you leave it on your board into a fight. But yeah.
yep. I don't think this item is like a don't buy. I think this item is the same as Pinata. I think it's better than Pinata because you it's like 8 gold for 3 gold back, but you do make some of your money back, but you don't get the HP. These both have these are such similar items in my mind. Maybe I prefer the HP over the 3 spare change. This is better if you have like a money tree, right? But they both sell from that stupid tree guy, and he buys them both back for an extra gold. So this thing kind of breaks even. This thing doesn't quite break even, but this gives you
Yes.
HP. So I'm not really sure. They're both pretty similar in my book.
And, and can I say I love thematically that you can abuse Barcoon with these items,
I
right?
I love that.
Because as the whole thing is like he's going to be a business tree,
Yeah.
and nobody believes in him, and you take advantage of him, and it's perfect.
It's actually I don't know if it was intentional because other characters don't I think have this interaction, but I feel like it's an accidental lore flavored W for the Bazaar as opposed to a because it didn't used to work this way, but instead of a top down thing where it's like Pygmalion, the most economy savvy guy in the Bazaar, literally takes advantage of this merchant who is you buy briefcase, you sell him briefcase, you sell him 2 spare change, you make money off briefcase. You buy the safe, you could probably sell him the safe and the money and make money off the safe, depending on like the level of the safe or whatever. Like you could actually just straight up take advantage of this guy, like, but only as Pygmalion. I think. I don't think the other characters have that kind of. You sell an item to break it into smaller items to then make profit.
Yeah, there's not as many opportunities to do anything like that. But in friends and family, I guess that is how those three vendors from I don't know what they are, like the League of like shopkeepers. And so we're talking about Quixel, we're talking about Midsworth and him, but the difference is they're all different sized items, right? So it's
Yeah,
like um, the fact that he sells medium items which have the most sell buy effects. And so does Quixel, but Quixel you can't sell a small item to make money. You have to sell a large item, and you're never buying a medium or a small item and getting a free large item. So yeah, I like it a lot.
I think it's a really cool flavor. And again, I think it's a little more accidental. Not like that he likes small items, but I don't think they would have made a bunch of medium items for Pig that can sell to get small items just to make it so you could take advantage of that merchant's personality. I feel like this just happens to be a flavor win. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's all part of Raynad's design. I'm like, you that if it is, you should focus on other aspects of the game, I think. I think there's probably more valuable ways to spend resources, but whatever, it works. Sana, this item is, I think it's got to be S tier. It's either A or S. It's hard to know. This thing works with everything. If whenever you burn, you heal. This is very, very powerful. One, it burns itself every 7 seconds. it's a triggered ability. So every time Matchbox goes off, this goes off, and when this goes off, it helps weights go off. Um, it works with, I think it enchants really well also, but it just such a, it combos with everything that you want to be using anyway, right? If you look at the items it's good with the Matchbox, don't click on it. It's good with the hot springs, it's good with the cold room, it's good with the freezy thing. Why is it extra good with the freezy things? It's not like it's extra good with these, but typically these are kind of good with this. It's really good with weights. It's good with bird. It just a This is an item that I pretty much always take when it shows up. Um, it's just good. I don't know.
I agree that it's good. I think it's an A item. I think it's one of those things where it the reason that is good is because look at all those items you run it with that are just A S items. You know what I mean? So I feel like this is like an A item that is carried by S items, and of course you're gonna grab it every time because you're gonna grab the S items every time.
Yeah, I mean, it works with like like you need burn. If you have no burn, it's pretty bad. But even if you're just doing Steam Ladle, this is pretty good. You don't need Matchbox for it to be good. Um, if you get a burn enchant on anything, it's pretty good. But you specifically need burn for it to be good. But given you healing and regeneration, I think it's definitely better than Pawn Shop. But I don't think it's as good as this item.
I don't think it's as good as Pawn Shop. Pawn Shop enables an entire archetype. Like this just supports an archetype.
I guess, but for me, it's also
But
like the archetype it's a part of is clearly S, where for me HP is like an A. I think
yeah,
it's questionable here. I mean, I'm willing to
yeah,
put it.
I think it and Pawn Shop are very similar. It's just that um, Pawn Shop support items are much worse. You know what I mean? Or the things that Pawn Shop is supporting is much worse than what Sauna is. Sauna is just works with the best items in the game.
Yeah, this is the strength of the build that it's part of is you don't need to scale it. You just get the pieces, and the pieces then make the build. It's not like even like in Vanessa, like with weapon Vanessa, like you want to be able to start scaling attack over time with like outside of combat stuff. This is like it doesn't matter. Once you get the pieces, you just put them on the board in the right order, and then boom. Whereas like Pawn Shop, you really need to invest into it for a long time. I don't know.
And it's
I think it's right around this spot.
yeah, you can put it in the bottom of the other one. I'm cool with that. But yeah, in a double cast with Fort, which is cool too, because
It does,
that's
yeah.
just another one of those items that you're going to be grabbing all the time. So the three best items in the game, you're going to play it with those. You're going to play it with Cold Room because two items that give you regen is always good, right? And you're going to play it with um,
We're gonna have this
Snow
exact
Globe.
conversation on another item coming up, so I'm kind of
All right,
interested.
I'll let you go ahead and move the other item.
Um, do you want to just do it right now? Let's just do it while we're on the
Yeah,
topic.
let's do it.
Stopwatch. Stopwatch, I think, is potentially S tier, but I think it's only potentially S tier because of how good the package it goes in. It is, if you have Hot Spring, Cold Room, like you have that build and like Fort, this is like an S plus better than Matchbox item. Like genuinely, it's that busted to get like 13 freeze triggers on all of the stuff and then instantly proc all your stuff a million times with like Steam Ladle and stuff. But if you don't specifically have this build, it's like straight up D tier. You would never buy this under any circumstance. So I always buy this item. I think I'm gonna put it in A tier. Is my instinct because it's so unbelievably good with the stuff that it's good with that you want to be aiming for in the end game anyway. And it pretty much once you get even Cold Room, this shit is just so good. It just instantly gives you like like 60 regen, you know? Even if you don't care about the slow itself, it's so good. But if you don't have anything that cares about it, yeah, I mean, like think about this. Even if you have this, like it just procs this like twice. You just hit them for 2,000, 3,000 damage. Um, but there's so many boards, it's literally just a dead slot that does absolutely nothing. And it multicast with Fort. It is so S plus tier in the Fort Frozen build items, which is so funny. I can't believe this is not a Frozen asset item. This is the most Frozen asset item of all time, and VIP Pass should so be in the base because it's so important. VIP Pass you want with the normal items, this you want with the new items. Maybe that is supposed to be. I feel like they designed this for the Frozen asset and the VIP Pass for the original, and they switched it. That way, there was like a little bridge connecting the sets together. Um, but maybe I'm wrong. But I think this is an A tier item just because it's so unbelievably good in the best build, but it's kind of just like super mid in anything besides that. It's not even mid, it's
Yeah,
bad.
it's really hard to evaluate an item that is one of the best items in the game when enabled, and you never pick it. Well, you never want it on your board when it's not enabled.
This is the only time it's good outside of this, like outside of the things that specifically care about it, is it's fairly easy to get the skill on Pig that it seems to show up all the time. Is whenever you freeze, all your weapons get plus 10 damage or something, and this gives all your weapon like 100 damage, 120 damage after 11 seconds. So it's frequently going to be better than Pig's Gym if you get that skill. So I think it's not. This is an item that I've started to just pick up when it shows up, but it's a gold item, right? So you're not like getting it early. So like you kind of, but it is something that's worth keeping in mind. I think it's clear. I think I like it in S plus, but I know it's not an S plus item because it's not generically so good all the time. But I think that's why I just put it in A. But again, it's hard to judge something that is like so the duality of an item like this.
Yep, I'm fine with this because the upside is much better than the downside. It's only 8 gold to grab it, and you're going to want to be playing all of the S and S plus items on your final board. So on runs where you don't hit those items, you didn't lose because you bought stopwatch. You lost because you didn't hit those other items.
Yeah, and it's like I would probably like you can get fight that skill, the Yeti guy. He has like I think he has Glacier, but you also can fight him and get the skill where you freeze all non-weapon items at the start of the fight. That shit is so good. That's like a free stopwatch, baby. You're like, oh, but you only even if you're fighting a weapon, Vanessa, and you're only freezing your own stuff, it's like I don't care. This skill is too good. Yeah, all right. We don't need to talk about it too much, but that is an item I was interested in. Am I crazy or does this item suck? The ability to get two
It does.
yo-yos is not what it used to be. It's not. The variance on it is too high for me to care. This is just for sell triggers for me. Like I buy it from the guy that sells the large and medium items, and I sell it back to him for more money. Right? Is that kind of where you're at on this?
Yes.
I'm disappointed to see this item every time. There used to be the dream of like I'm gonna get a second yo-yo and I'm gonna go off, and now it's like, eh, okay. This is an
Yeah.
item I'm
Back
curious
when
about.
bronze yo-yo was back when bronze yo-yo was diamond yo-yo now, yes,
It
getting
was
the
better
second
than
yo-yo
Diamond
was
Yo-Yo
insane.
now because it
You're right.
activated. Now it is okay. Signet ring. I think this is potentially an S tier item. Small item. Let's open a calculator. Um, it gives you how much? I think it gives you 20 HP. Signet. Do you know how to spell Signet? There we go. Um, it gives you 10 HP at so let's just pretend. Let me do a little math. Let me just pretend it's at silver. And let's say you get this on day 3. So let's say you get it a little not late, but let's say you don't get it as early as possible and you kind of keep it at silver the whole game. How much HP does this give you? How many? It's every hour. So it gives you 60 HP a day. And then what? You have at minimum you're going to have another 8 days. So for 2 gold, you get 480 HP and you get 10 gold back. Right? Because it gives you 1 income at silver. And then
Yes.
you
It
get
is
double.
better than glow.
If you get this, if you get it gold, you're gonna get closer to like double your money back, and you're gonna get it's very easy for this item to give you like 1,000 HP over a run and give you more gold than you spent on it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
And
a
don't forget
world.
that it gives you income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it gives you the income, so you get 1, 2, and 3 income. I just can't imagine the world where I ever don't buy this when I see it ever. There's literally not a single time in any run that I would ever not buy this. And in fact, I had 2 signet rings for the very first time in yesterday's run. I don't even remember how it's because I had a gold one and then an enemy dropped a silver one from an item crate or something like that. It felt great. I loved it. Yeah, I'd run 6 of these, right? Like I would never not buy this item. So I think it's clearly an S item. But I mean, it's not gonna win you the run ever. But I mean, this is like an auto buy every single time, right? Anything
Yeah,
about you
it's
agree with
just
that?
it's just pretty free. You know what I mean? Yeah. However you want to evaluate getting a free 1,000 uh, HP over the course of your run, because uh, all you're really paying is the one slot. And I do occasionally sell it and then buy another one later.
Yeah, I very rarely sell it, but I will sometimes. I have to be real tight on money to want to sell it, but
I
uh,
just I'm gonna pay $10 for 5 chocolates. I want to get all 5 chocolates.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If I need to make space, because then the chocolate is 50 HP, right? So that's like 5 ticks of this. I mean, I guess that's silver. It's debatable, but typically, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then I usually end up finding one within a day anyway.
Yeah, it's a very common item. It just like this is one of the reasons why Pig just seems to always have more HP than other people. Like even when you're not trying to build HP, he just has a few things like this that are just incremental HP. Like they might have a globe, they might have this, maybe they have this in their stash because this works even in your stash. By the way, you don't need this on your board. Um, so this is one of the main ones, right? This is going to be for no investment. You're actually gaining money back over time. You're getting like 1,000 HP a run. So obviously very good. I think Silk is a little bit of dookie shoes at this point in the game. Maybe it's better than I'm giving it credit for, but it just seems so clearly not as good as like stuff that as it used to be. It used to be like this and Dog because you could get them silver day one. Were so like, oh, this is great. Regal Blade silver day one, Silk silver day one, Dog silver day one. But now I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It just it feels like a bad fixer upper, and because it has twice the cooldown, and so I don't ever really want this on my board. But it's not like completely dog water
It was almost S tier for 24 hours.
with the apparel. Yeah, yep, 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 yep. You're
Yeah,
absolutely right.
'cause it
With
was a
the,
really good early item that you could get while you were looking for your Beast of Burden.
I mean, this has got to be the same item as dog, right? Is dog or silk better? I
Hmm,
don't know.
that's a good question.
They're
My
pretty.
silk always gets bigger than my dog. Is that weird?
Mm,
I think it's because of the nature of what you have to sell. Are they both non-weapon items?
no, this is not silk is non-weapon items. Dog is small items. So dog will get more scaling. Like if you sell, yeah, I mean that's probably why. So it's probably a little bit better because if you sell the chocolate bars, they both get the scaling. But if you sell like a briefcase, well, I guess that's a weapon item. If you sell like a, I don't know, any kind of medium, like you sell an ATM, this will scale and this won't. You have to sell. So this only scales when this doesn't. When you sell a small weapon like a hatchet, right? So it's very rare that this gets a buff and this doesn't. We're in the reverse situation. You might sell a lot of medium items over the course of a run that are non-weapons. So that's probably accurate. This item doesn't exist, but I think spicy. I think this is a don't. I think this is just a don't buy item. I can't even in the perfect build. If you have a 500 value freaking fixer upper and you have a diamond whatever VIP pass, I still think you're just running the spiky shield. Probably.
Mhm.
I don't know. This is a shorter cooldown and it can get multicast. So maybe it's better, but I just feel like so much has to go. The board state that you need for this to be good is so specific, and it's a diamond only item that you're not planning on getting ever. So it's like 1 in a 10,000 run kind of item. I feel like it's not 1% of runs you're gonna use this. It's like literally a magnitude less than that. I think
Yeah,
maybe
I've only used it once, post, like, when it was really good in a very early game, and ever since they fixed the enchantments and made them much better, I think there's no reason to run this anymore because I would rather have a sub scraper,
Mhm.
supporting my fixer upper if it has burn or poison, um, and of course, whatever enchantment you have on it, it probably just does enough by itself where if you could just continue increasing its own value, it's better than getting this because it's a faster item.
Like I don't think I have played what 250 games as Pig almost at this point. I've would not buy this. Almost, I cannot think of a time I would purposely buy this item. Um, it has to be so specific. I mean, for me, this is just a don't buy. If you see this at diamond, and most half the time you find this, it's also enchanted because it comes out in so late. So it's like 98 gold. This item almost doesn't exist. This is an item that should not be at diamond for me. They've kind of fixed a little bit of like the early game. This is also the only weapon property. It's so weird. This is why these items deserve each other. Space Scraper. I think this item is significantly better. I think this is a solid B tier. Um, because it shows up at gold and it also has more scaling. Like this gives you this is triple value in combat, whereas the Skyscraper only has double, and this gets the same like amount at shield instead of damage. It doesn't have the multicast, I guess, but there are situations where it's like you're running Fixer Upper, and then you're like, oh fuck, I guess I'll run a Space Scraper as well, and then you're running the Spike Shield, so you got 3, 6, 7, 8, and then you could just run like an open sign and have like 1,000 regeneration and an absurd amount of shields in this. It's like fine. I think it's like a B tier, but
Yeah,
it might be,
I
it
think
could
it
be a C tier. I could be argued into
to
that.
me, it feels a lot like a hogwash. Like you're rarely really going to have a great setup to play it. It's going to give you about equal value. Yeah, I agree. The one thing I'll say is with Skyscraper, I wish that they would lower it down to silver, right? Just make it half as good every time or whatever. And then at least you could get it early enough where you could say, I actually want to pick up skills and stuff to support the weapon archetype of properties because you never plan on playing weapon properties.
It needs, yeah, like I think fundamentally Pig makes more sense as a character if this is at silver. I think you don't make it bronze purely off flavor of the item. It's weird for a bronze Skyscraper. Silver I think is just like more thematic, and plus maybe you don't want it to show up on day one, but like come on man, this item has to, this is the only weapon property, unless you're like trying to do weird Bob shenanigans. But I feel like if you're gonna have Pygmalion go try to start early in the game, build towards like, oh, I'm a property mogul, I'm a landowner. I'm going like, I think this item needs to show up way sooner. I think it's like a fundamental flaw right now of Pygmalion's character is that there are no weapon properties earlier in the game. So it's like every time whatever the stupid sign shows up, I'm like, who cares? Every time it's like, oh, every time you use a property, give all your weapons. Like, I'm like, yeah, but it's just, there needs to be a little more synergy in that regard early game. So I agree with you 100%. Spices, I feel like is a pure meme in Pig, but I feel like it's actually pretty good in other characters.
Yes.
Um,
It's unfortunate that we're doing this tier list based on Pig because I do think it can be insane in every other character that we have so far.
like it's a diamond only item, but it surprisingly shows up way more frequently. It is like I've done it, I've used it on Pig maybe in like 250 runs, maybe once, maybe twice. I remember one time for sure where I doubled the value of my double whammy, because it was my only weapon, and it brought it from like 50,000 to 100,000, like something irrelevantly high. Like who fucking cares? It was just a meme. It is really good if you're doing mono cash cannon, but it's still kind of a meme. It's not like very good. If you could get it earlier and you could make an allotl pop off pretty fast, like that would be good. But yeah, I don't think it's a Pig doesn't care about weapons that much.
Yeah. 8 seconds is just a long ways into a fight to make an allotl pop off as well.
Yeah,
So
it's more like this is good if you already have your allotl at 200 attack and you just want to boost it to 400 attack. I will say I hate this item in fucking Vanessa, not because it's bad, but because it's good. Like they had this item and they had it permanently hasted and they were giving it ammo. So it was just like, oh, 100, 200, 400, 8. I was like, what is happening to this flagship, bro? Stop. I still won because it was frozen, but I mean, it looked really cool on their board. That's why the free stuff is so good. Like, keep in mind, this is S plus, man. All this other stuff people are doing, like, I don't know if people are talking about this stuff, but if they're not, people are high. I kind of hope they don't. I don't want them to nerf my boy. If they get rid of this stuff, Pig is in a really bad spot, I think. But maybe they fix that. All right. Spike Shield, this has got to be an A tier item, right?
You use it way more than I do. I'm not a spike shield lover.
It's the only way to get damage out of Fixer Upper without enchanting it. Besides, is there? I mean, you could get damage out of it via like Skyscraper and stuff like that, but this is the only like real good way to get damage out of it.
Yeah, I usually, for me, it's either an enchantment or I am using Matchbox and Cold Rune to get my win. You know what I mean?
So
So
this is
it's just keeping me alive.
if you have a if you have a reasonable fixer upper, this item is so good because sometimes you just go up against a poison Vanessa and you just hit them once for 50,000 HP or like 30,000 HP, like they have no chance. Um, Even if you go up against super aggro characters and this isn't very good, it's then that's kind of when you have the matchbox victory a lot of times, and this could be a little awkward there, but it's still like it's good in so many matchups that I think it's fair. Plus, early game, this is like the Ganjo GOAT. This is so good with Ganjo because it gives you the shield and the damage, and then the shield is also added to its own damage, so it's kind of giving you a double damage and a defensive thing. So it is slow, but it's just a pretty darn good item at all aspects. He doesn't care about items being slow that much. He's kind of a slow boy in general. Um, Although
Yeah, the
like
way I like to use it in the early game is either you take like your what is it called? Bandages, right? And you put it on the Ganjo, and then like you start getting a good amount. And the one time that I did really like Spike Shield is when I got the 1 in 3 drop from the Banana Bowl, and I had duct tape, and then
yeah.
I used the Ganjo on the duct tape, and then all of a sudden I just had a bajillion shield, and it was like, oh yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I mean, this is an item that's the best item in the game until they do a little bit too much damage and it just does literally nothing in that entire fight. It also is particularly bad if the game goes to Sandstorm because they're really tanky because the Sandstorm destroys all your shields. But I think it's an A tier item. It just absolutely obliterates a lot of builds, especially like as poison becomes more popular. Even like in the issue with like monitor lizard days is that the poison was so high that you would die before the 9 seconds. But outside of that, like if they don't interact with your shields, they just get one shot. Um, like even the crab claw, it does damage like equal to your fixer upper. This could do damage equal to 4 times your fixer upper, right, in the same amount of time. Um, so it's pretty good. Uh, this seems like a. I don't know if this item is really good or just really mid. It only shows up gold, so I don't get it that much. I think this is a B item. This is very good at getting value on your properties you care about fast, but it's kind of late in the game. And I would say 70% of the time it shows up, I'm not even looking to increase the value of my properties anyway, so I don't really care that much. And even if I do have properties and it's a way to make money, by the time it shows up, I don't really need the money. It's mostly to increase scaling, and I don't care about like scaling on most of my items besides like pawn shop fixer upper, right? So it seems a little
Yes.
mid.
And you're not gonna like what I have to say, but you put it in the perfect place. I think like it's very much the same thing as bonsai tree, but bonsai tree you get earlier and is small, easier to use, right? Um, I think because of the mechanical issues that you just outlined, that they really need to switch the rarity of ledger and stained glass window, so that stained glass window you find at silver and you can use it earlier, but it only upgrades one, I believe, right? Or is it all properties on the board?
It gives all properties 5 value after you win a fight.
Okay, so that could actually be more interesting. So it's like if you it could be better, but it's probably on average going to be a little bit worse than deed. And then deed at gold makes it so you can't abuse it because it gives two of any items, right?
Yeah.
Plus 5, 10, 15 gold, which I think is a little too good right now.
Yeah, overall, I think that they just need to make property pig in the earlier game more achievable. You got to be careful. You don't want these overpowered large properties with huge numbers. But like again, this scales every item. You know, this gives value on every item. This only gives value to properties. And if you lose a fight with it, it permanently gets destroyed. Maybe at silver they get rid of that or something and they make it weaker somehow. Because I feel like early game you buy a silver item and instantly gets destroyed is like that really hurts the longevity of a run. Um, I don't know, but I actually like. I want them to adjust certain things like skyscraper down and ways to scale skyscraper and fixer upper down in different ways. Like this could probably be scaled up like in rarity because right now it is like just
Yeah,
a
I
little
just
bit
want
too
to
good.
still have another non-pay. Well, it's not going to be pay to win soon, but we're going to get to VIP, at some point. But right now, VIP is just insane. It starts at silver, like it's crazy.
Yeah, in fact, we'll just address that now. VIP is I don't know if it's better than Ledger, but it's like on par with like Ledger and Fixer Upper, I think. It's it generates you the most money. It generates you more money than Ledger does. The issue with it is that it's so good you never want to sell it. Like I'm just like I want to keep holding it forever. And that's the downside of the item. But like this with the I just had this with the billboard. It made billboard look pretty darn good. This with Fixer Upper, like a Fixer Upper build with a VIP pass early in the game, twice the strength of or more of a Fixer Upper build that tries to scale in a different way. Because not only does every time Fixer Upper activates, it gives it a gold, a value. It also will haste it, and sometimes it once you get it leveled up, it'll haste it for like 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. So it'll like get multiple triggers in that haste time. And then if you have the skill, you can make it so Fixer Upper haste this infinite times, right? So you can kind of just get this haste loop on a pig, which is super rare, by the way. Um, it just got it just I don't know if it's too good, but this is like the perfect cornerstone of what I want from a early scaling pig item. Something that like incentivizes you to run it during battle that's not very strong, but it's for the long-term scaling of properties. Um it's a great item. This should be in the base set in my opinion. It's a little too pay to win right now.
Yes, like it's crazy when I look back at like when we first looked at the items. Um, we were like, yeah, it might be a little pay to win. They got nerfed. We're like, it's definitely not pay to win now. And now looking back, we're like, oh no, actually, it's still completely pay to win. Like, look where the items from that pack are listed on this board post nerf. It's insane. I really think they should get rid of the haste on VIP Pass. It doesn't need to do anything else.
It doesn't. It could just be a passive item for sure. Here, let's get through these last few items, and I kind of do want the hot takes, or I want the overall takes. I think Steam Ladle is. I don't know if it's S or the highest A tier. It's hard to know. It's such a build with Cold Room, but if you don't have any freeze, this is just like bad, like really bad matchbox. It only does 2 burn. It is a 4-second cooldown, so it's fast. But the second you get anything that's cold, it's pretty darn good. It's better than most burn items in the game. What do you think? Do you think it's an A or an S?
Um, I'm fine with it at either place, right? I think it is better than Sauna when it's active. So I guess like yeah, I like it right where you have it.
Yeah, I think this is fair. It seems like an S tier item, but it doesn't seem like it was bonkers broken before, and now it's just really good. Like before, old Cold Room was probably S plus plus, and this was probably S plus plus with it, just because of how good Cold Room was, and how it was so easy to get it at bronze, where it just always these are both bronze items. It just always instantly turned on. Um, Subscraper, Subscraper might be the best item I never buy, because it I don't know if it's high A tier. It to me it kind of has a pawn shop issue where on its own it doesn't really do anything. It could heal you a lot and increase it gives its value to other items, but like the amount of times I actually want an item that gives its value to other items is relatively low by the time it starts showing up at gold. But if I do want that, it's the best item in the game to scale because you're getting really good value off of it, right? You give this 10 value and it gives everything else on your board 10 value, makes all the open signs, closed signs, fixer uppers better. But I'm a little, it also enchants like a mother effer. This thing enchants really good. Um, but I'm not quite sure if it's S tier just because of the amount of times I want it is relatively fringe.
I always want it, but I just never find it. Um, but what this does allow you to do is if you're not playing Fixer Upper and you hit this, you can immediately decide to play Fixer Upper because now you can put your value on that, find a Fixer Upper, and it's already powerful.
That's true. This is another thing. It just starts at gold, so you get it kind of late. Maybe, but do you think
Yeah,
it's S tier? Do you think
it's really
it's
nice.
high A, or do you think it's low S?
I'm fine with high A. One of the ways that I've used it in the past is when I'm having a run that's going really poorly, where I'm getting around day 10 and I'm like, I'm not doing anything, right? I don't really have cohesion. I got a couple pieces for a couple things. So I grab that, I start using deed on it, and then, it's pretty easy to find a fixer upper. And then once you find the fixer upper in the late game, it's going to start at like gold. And then you're like, okay,
Yeah.
now we're good.
If you're struggling to get a build together, this thing can be a build, and it's like this will help you get that build together really fast. I want to move Lemonade Stand above Cash Cannon. I think it's better than those items. I just saw that. Below A, I don't care that much, but I think we kind of should care about the positioning of these for the most part. Like Matchbox is probably better than Fort on average. It's hard to say, but Matchbox is bronze. Anyway, we're almost out of items, and they're all pretty simple ones. Um, textiles, textiles feels good because the Ganjo guy that you fight seems to be able to heal a ridiculous amount with this, and it's honestly pretty good with Ganjo. Um, because it gets double the healing effect because it shields and it heals equal to your shield, right? So you gives you a bonus shield and a bonus healing when you Ganjo it, and then the shield also gives you healing. But it's like whatever. It's not like insane, but it is like a pretty good defensive early game item with the Ganjo. But again, that's mostly because Ganjo is good. At baseline, this item's not very good. It's basically pigs tech against poison, right? Because they never touch your shield. So every like 5 seconds you heal to full. So they have to get a lot of poison before they actually kill you with it.
Yeah, I never play it.
Yeah, it's very 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 narrow. Um, we'll put it down there somewhere. I don't care too much about this positioning. This item used to be the best item in the game, one of the best items in the game. When it triggered, whenever you use the property, I think it would freeze an additional item. Now it charges one, and it's a toy, so you can multicast it. But this is like kind of a meme. You just don't really have the space for it. The freeze has gotten so powerful in Pig that this is not what you're looking for. Even if I'm going with a freeze build, the amount of times I use this is very low. I would use this the one time I used this recently was with a 13 multicast Bob as a property. Then it activated twice, and I'm like, okay, that's like fine. Because then you could also like it. The thing is, if you're running Bob, Beast of Burden, you're running this toy, and then you're running in between them. You're running the multicast item wherever it's at. Then Bob gets one additional multicast, and this gets two multicast. So now you're freezing four things, for 2 seconds each. So you're freezing like that's like starting to get like okay. But that is definitely a can buy sometimes, not like something you're striving for. That's something like you kind of have something going, you're trying to get a build together, and you're like, oh, this is a synergy. I could put these together for now. Um, but
I'm
that's
never
it.
buying that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad most of the time. But I don't think it's like a don't buy item. I think that there are times that I would buy it, but it's very fringe. Um, Bird, I think Bird is like a solid A item. I think it's better than Yo-Yo for sure because it still has multicast like 3 or 4. It's good with Matchbox. It's good with weights. It's good with Ganjo. Um, it's pretty much just a solid item because most of your things that are really good are going to be properties, and this is just a bunch of triggers. It's just good, in general. Although this
Not
is
as good as it
this is an
once
item
was.
I replace a lot.
Yeah, it's not as good as it once was, but still good.
Yeah, you need a Matchbox for it to be like actually good. If you don't have a Matchbox, it just kind of heals you, which is fine. But I mean, it works with a lot of things, right? It just there's a lot of things that care about you healing. Like weights is very good. Like if I'm running a weapon build with weights, I'm still running Bird every time. And I'm probably gonna run because it's tough because you need a property to make it work, but it's still it's just good. Um, this item is just one slot above ATM, I think, or cash register. It's the exact same item, but it gives you 3 items instead of 2. But instead of spare change, it's spare change, a chocolate bar, and truffles. I think it's random now. I think it's worded as if it's not, but I still think it's just randomly those 3. Um, truffles aren't as good as they used
They
to
did,
be. I'm sorry.
they did admit that there was a bug with it not always giving the right items.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's been fixed. I haven't used it.
In general, I would say a chocolate bar and a truffle is better than a spare change because the truffle is going to do effectively this. You could use the truffle to put the value on the chocolate bar and then sell the chocolate bar, but you're also getting HP out of the deal. So I would say this is just a little bit better. It does take up more space, but you could choose to not utilize that space and get relatively a similar effect. Plus, big thing, this is a property. You can use this to give the property thing to like your cargo shorts and stuff. Like it that's fringe because it's never on your board, but you could run this on your board for like the bird and stuff like that. So it just edges out the cash machine, in my opinion. I've played 250 games as Pig. This has never been on my board. Where would you put Windmill? I have this for me. This is Skyscraper. It doesn't exist because it's diamond only large property. When I find it, there's no room on my board to try to make this thing work.
Yeah, I've used it as pig twice and as dually probably like 3 times. Every time I've used it, it's been really good. I would say it's a solid A item.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in the bottom of A because this is like unlike this item has a lot of you need to have a specific board for this to even do anything. This is such a generically just good effect. It's like whenever you use what like an adjacent item, charge this and then haste all your items or something. Is it a haste all your items or a charge all your items?
You might want to look it up because I think it's like 5 seconds. I haven't used it since
Okay,
the
5 second cooldown.
debunking.
When you use any other item, charge this a second. So it's a better matchbox. And then you charge adjacent items 1 second. This is like such a weird pig item. This is like an infinite dually item for sure. Um, it's I'm sure it's good, but like I just don't know when I'm running this, man. I don't
I
know.
mean, HP Pig is where I used it, and I used it with a fixer upper once, enchanted fixer upper.
Yeah, that's you know what that's fixer upper stuff. That's probably good. It's so hard to want to make room for a diamond item that you haven't had in your build, but it is probably for me. I just need to utilize it and see how good it is, kind of like I did with Hot Springs, where it's like you know what, I don't care if it's awkward to change my build. I'm gonna throw this in, and it instantly became S plus. But the difference between
And I
a
think
gold
there's so many
item
things
and a
that it
diamond
could
item is
be really
huge.
good with. Yeah, it could be really good with Cold Room, but like I said, I haven't seen it since Cold Room has been in the game. But since it gets used so fast right next to it, it's cool that it will give some additional charges to both it and the thing on the other side of it, which is kind of the perk. Because one of the things you can do with it is you can put it next to a slow item like a double whammy, and you can have a really fast item on the other side of it, right? And then
Yeah.
as that fast item charges it, and it already has a 5 second, to begin with, it will start charging the double whammy so that you can just use the double whammy in a reasonable amount of time, like 7 seconds instead of 12.
I just don't like I guess I don't like ranking items that in my mind almost don't exist. Like I'm just like it's just like it's not even really part of the game right now. I think items, large diamond items, items starting as large diamond is like something they should really strive to not do. Um, I
I
think they should be.
disagree.
Well, I just think that's too. I don't know. I don't like it when items like that don't exist. It just seems like
My argument is I think that diamond only items should be S or S plus strength levels. Like the problem with this one, I think, is it's just too weak to pick every time you see it, and how rare it is makes you always want to pick it. You know what I mean? But really, like you have to have certain board setups to even be able to take advantage of this. I like the idea of having a handful of items so rare that when you hit them, you're able to completely pivot and get a 10 win.
I semi agree with you, but for me, that feels like that's already fulfilled by the rare monster items. I don't feel like I need a Pygmalion item that is like that as well. I feel like getting a dragon heart is kind of like that or something. And now those are a little more varied. You don't like they're even a lower chance to get probably. Um, and you can't really influence your chance to get them other than fighting the enemy. But I feel like that kind of fulfills a similar role already mechanically. Um, but I mean, it's not
Yeah,
like a big deal.
I've
I'm
gotten
not. I'm
dragon
not
heart.
mad when Mill is in the game, but for me, it's like I don't know. It's just like I've never see it, and when I do see it, it's not the time. So it feels like it's annoying when I'm looking for a hot springs and this shows up in my shop on poll or whatever. I'm like, Get out of here. No one wants you. Although I should probably buy it more, but it's expensive too. It's not like it's easy to afford, but all right. I don't think we need to readjust too much here. Up here, if I take a look, I was kind of glancing through it. All this makes sense to me. Um in like a literal sense. So what I kind of want to count is like the pay to win items, right? So we have one, two, three, four, five, six. Is that six of them? So 6 out of 10 are A tier plus, and then where are the last ones? It's one, two, and this is arguably high. I agree. Three, and then four. So 4 out of the 10 are B tier or below, and 6 out of 10 are A tier plus. Also, like the best S plus stuff is the pay to win stuff as well. Like when I look at Pig and I'm trying to think what's weak, and I'm looking at this stuff, a lot of it is just yeah, like a lot of these items are just super mid. Like there's so many items, and maybe that's okay. I feel like they should strive to like make some of these a bit better. Probably not this. This freeze doesn't need any more support, but I don't know. What are your overall thoughts after going through this? I'm still processing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it very much shows that um, even after the nerf, still very much pay to win with Pig. Vanessa, I don't feel is the same way. If I don't really play Vanessa enough, to go over a tier list for her or whatever. But I would definitely be willing to make a dually one, because I play every other game is dually Pig because I like playing as many heroes as possible, but I don't enjoy playing one weapon Vanessa. And if you don't play one weapon Vanessa right now, I think you're going to have a rough time. Um, I don't think Poison is good enough right now for Vanessa. And I think Burn is enough if you play like a really aggro style. But the idea that you have to pick gold skill and you have to get a Burn gold skill to be able to really play that archetype is kind of lame, right? You can't just say, all right, we're going to look for some burn items and stuff. They won't be good enough if you can't get like +9 or +6, damage to your
Yeah,
items.
that makes sense to me. If I think about taking out all the pay to win items here and you're looking at your build options, it's really rough. Because even like this is kind of the issue. The only build that I see here that's like arguably really good that is not affected by the pay to win and maybe made worse by it is HP Pig. Because of all the medium items, it could be a little harder to get belt, which is what you really want. But like even like Fixer Upper without VIP pass, it's a way worse build on average. Um, and obviously the really good stuff like the healing stuff is not as good. You could still make Crook work, you could still make HP Pig work, but you have way less options, and the top end is way lower if you're not doing the pay to
Yeah,
win.
I would like to do something real quick. All right.
Hmm.
And the one thing I do want to argue against is I'm a snow globe hater. I think snow globe should be like at the top of A, but my point is I don't think it's better than all of these other cool things that we have up here. And I also think
I
weights.
run solo snow globe with no support, with zero multicast if you have stuff. I actually think it's that
That's
good.
crazy. Well, and you might be right. I'm just saying I don't play it. But what I'd like to do is um let's just grab. Well, I don't know if you want a screenshot or whatever, or if you want to do that the video, but I just want to throw all of the pay to win items.
Yeah, and then see what
Well,
we're
just
left.
from the top three tiers, and then I want to readjust the top couple items, right? Because
Okay.
if we look at playing them without them existing,
I'm gonna move them down to just this tier for B tier
yeah.
for simplicity. Um boom, 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 boom. Did I get them all?
All right, I think you did it. So now looking at Matchbox, is Matchbox still S plus in end games when you don't have the freeze?
Is Matchbox S plus? It's tough to say. If I'm thinking about running Snow Globe Fixer Upper, You can't really run balcony though, because that's awkward. Um, maybe subscraper. If I'm running something like this, maybe matchbox is still good enough. Maybe. I think matchbox is so good when you have the bird out. Like this is probably still but I don't know if it's S plus in the sense that it's always the best item every time. But if you're running something
Yeah,
like
I think it's the best item. Yeah.
if you're running something like Fixer Upper, Frost Globe, Subscraper, that's what 3, 6, 7, 8, and then you're running Matchbox Bird. That's probably super real. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's still S plus, but it's definitely would be
Right.
S.
Yeah. Well, I know we can't really move it, so we can probably just reload the page and leave it there. But yeah, I would move it to S. Fort, I think, also gets worse, right? Because a lot of your targets are gone.
Fort gets way worse. Fort is still really good, but like the big shit is the new items is like Cold
Yeah.
Room. But
Like
like
put it wherever you would rate it with these targets, with the non-pay to win targets. Where would you put it?
oh, I think it's still S. I because like it's still double
Really?
cast like this. It's still double. The fact that it slows down all your enemy stuff and like it's still really good with like a lottle even because you can still get a lottle down to 1 second while making all their stuff slow. Um, it's still double cast itself. I think it's probably not like top of S tier, but I think it's still probably an S tier
Yeah,
item. But I've been a, Fort believer forever, even
that's
before
true.
it
I
had
would probably
multicast.
put in A without the pay to win, just personally. So, and then Caltrops doesn't really change. Belt gets better, if anything.
Yes,
Deed gets worse, but is still really good. Um, I don't think that marbles would be S tier.
I think this is what I'd be trying to run potentially with like Matchbox, or if I would take this out and I would use the Spike Shield instead, or if I got this
Yeah,
enchanted, then I would just play more defensive stuff in general, like Balcony or something.
I
Um,
agree. Yeah, but I would still put marbles like back down somewhere else. You know what I mean?
yep,
Sub scraper, I think it's better. Lion's cane is just as good or better. Weights, I think, is probably just as good or better.
yeah,
Ganjo stays the same. I do think that the cooldown reduction gets a little bit worse, but not much. Um,
yeah. This is like still nice. Like the amount of targets it's insane on goes way down because like Hot Springs is really good, Cold Room is really good, but it is still good like on a double whammy. Getting a double whammy down to 6 seconds, getting the Bob down to 5 seconds, getting this down to 3.5 seconds. Like this is all very powerful stuff, but it's
and
not like absurdly
any
powerful.
is there any A items that you'd bring up in a non pay to win meta?
I mean, I would think there's a chance that like both Crook and Pawn Shop become S. It becomes the two best things you could probably do in Pig in general. I mean, the Fixer Upper is still good, but Fixer Upper loses a lot without VIP pass. Like that's a very real hit. So I think it's still arguably the best build, but like there's no doubt that some of the most viable builds you're going for is going to be Crook and then some sort of HP Pig. This definitely stays down. It probably goes down quite a bit. Like it's still reasonable. Like if you're using the like you can make it work, but it's not on the same level. You have to get some pretty specific situations. A Lotto becomes the best weapon besides Crook. Probably. I still think like there's a certain point where I think Lion's Cane and Double Whammy are relatively interchangeable. Even if Lion's Cane is better, it's like to me it's not
Yeah,
that much.
I would move double whammy up in this meta. Um, I think rewards card goes up in this meta because we no
You
longer have
yeah,
VIP, so it's more
you pretty
important
much
to have
you're
one.
pretty much always looking for it specifically because you really need it if you ever want to do. But one, because rewards card is good on Subscraper, is good on Fixer Upper, is good on Pawn Shop. So pretty much every build you care about, it's good on, with the exception of like the Crook build, because I don't think there's anything that cares about its own value in the Crook build. Um, even like Cash Cannon doesn't have value. It's just the other thing. Um,
Shield might go down one, just because you don't have as much ability to produce shield.
um, where's it at? This one, I think it would still be kind of A tier, but it would definitely be
And you
weaker. It would definitely be weaker. Stopwatch is
and
definitely
and
fucking
the
trash.
stopwatch would go like all the way down to D. Yeah, it'd just be gone.
It'd be like you don't ever get
Um,
it for any reason. The only way you get it is if you already have this. If you already have this, then you like it's almost like the closest thing non pay to win has to Exodia, right? You just you're sitting there for 11 seconds, then you bonk them for like 3,000, 4,000 damage because it'll activate like 3 times, 4 times. Plus, this goes up 50%. It goes from 1,000 damage to 1,500 at diamond. That's a pretty big whomper. Um,
yeah, so I think this is kind of what your free to play meta looks like right now.
it's embarrassing. I don't want to play Pig like this. I would not want to play Pig without the items right now. He's more fun with the items, but also just like the high end is so much stronger. Like
Right.
the
It
stupid
makes
free
it so
stuff
much
is so
easier.
good.
Like I want you to imagine this. My win rate with Dooley is just as good as my win rate with Pig during this patch. And Dooley got no new cards. He did get a reworked DJ, and that helps a lot. Don't get me wrong. But like when we're gonna just look apples to apples, like Matchbox got debonked, right? So like
Yeah, it's at
thank
4
God.
seconds.
Because in this meta, if you don't have Matchbox when you're not playing pay to win, you're so screwed.
I think I would be averaging 6 to 7 wins with Pig in this kind of stuff. Like if you take out the pay to win
No,
Pig, I
you
actually
would
think
still be getting.
I could get I because right now I'm averaging 10 wins. I'm getting 10 wins almost every run. But I
Mhm.
think on the builds where I try to do a little bit of weird stuff, I tend to get like 5 wins. So I think if I really refined trying to do weird stuff for the sake of it and just kind of go with the good stuff, I think I could get 7 wins on average. Meaning I very rarely like I would sometimes go above it, but I would also sometimes go below that for sure. So maybe 6 wins
Yep.
is a little more realistic. I don't know. But I mean,
The
I
big
think
problem
Pig is weak if you
is
take out his power, his pay to win pack. Um,
so Pig no longer really is fantastic day 14, 15. And that means that you get super punished for losing your first 3, 4 days, which happens sometimes because you're Pig. So I feel like you're hard capped at the number of wins you can get. If you lose, let's say 3 of your first 5 on average, and you don't really get to win after day 13, then you have basically 8 days where you can get those last 10 wins, but you have to win all of them.
yeah, and it's really a crapshoot if you're winning. Even if you do everything in your power and you get a good day one board, like you're not beating a good day one Vanessa board. Sometimes they just have their stupid. They have the double barrel shotgun and they have like a 50% crit on it somehow. I don't know how they're doing it, and they hit you for your 300 HP over 8 seconds. Now you just activated your first item. It's like woo. Um, yeah, it could be super, super brutal. Yeah, Pig doesn't. So HP Pig is just as strong as it's always been. I don't think the build gets any weaker or any. Sorry, I think the build potentially gets weaker with the pay to win stuff. But again, that is a build that is very difficult to just happen into. You kind of got to work on it early in order for it to be strong in the late game. And it is so hard to not lose while trying to get an HP Pig off the ground. Like if you're on day 2 and you spend all your money on a pawn shop because you're like, "Ooh, I found an early pawn shop," you're like boned. You're gonna lose the next 2 days just because you spend all your gold on no power. Maybe you'll get a little bit more HP, but you don't have a way to convert that HP into winning. You just have the HP. Um, it is still a very powerful build, but it's definitely not like a auto win kind of thing. Just make it work. Um, yeah. So that's our list. Whatever it was before I fucked it up. That wait. Here we go. I took a screenshot. You're right. This is our official list of Pygmalion. I hope they buff Pygmalion. This is my fear is that they're going to nerf all the new items again, and they're not gonna buff anything lower on the list, and Pygmalion just gonna be terrible. Luckily, Mac will be out, and I'll be able to ignore Pygmalion, I suppose. Um, But yeah, Pig's in kind of an awkward spot where the new stuff is so strong and the old stuff is kind of mid. I mean, we didn't really touch that much down here. There's a lot of like I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. I don't want to buy that. Like, I'll buy succulents, but it's like I run igloo, but I'm like, "Ah, all right, I'll run igloo. I'll do it. I need something to freeze because I'm already kind of building towards the freeze synergy, so I'll run that. But yeah, good luck trying to win with most of these items, right? Most of these things are not going to take you to 10 wins in any world. You need the most ridiculous. Bob is the one that maybe could, but like,
Yep.
good luck winning with dog anymore. That's not where we are. Especially like, I think other characters, it's not just that like dog isn't like way weaker than it was before, but like other characters are just like stronger and people are more refined with their cards. Like, so certain things got buffed. Um, and the bonketing, people say the bonketing hurt Dooley the most, but I still feel like he's not having much issues going infinite. You know, I don't feel like he's really having, once he gets that first trigger, I feel like it goes pretty fast in general. So, all right,
Yeah,
any
you just
last
have to be
thoughts?
better to get it. No, other than I really hope that they don't nerf the pay to win stuff because two reasons. One, it will make Pig worse and it'll make him feel bad to play.
But
And
the
I
big
enjoy
one,
playing him right now. So,
but the big one is all the people who can finally get it for free. It's finally free to play. The
and then
second it's
they
free
nerf
to
it.
play, it's
No,
gonna be dog shit, and you're not gonna want to run any of
that's
the items.
dirty. Don't do that. And please don't, but here's the inverse. I don't even know how you win, right? Because like let's say that they let these items hit the free open marketplace, right? Because right now the only people who are using these items are players who are better for the most part, because they're the only ones who are willing to pay the money and willing to pay their gems to fast track and everything. So the average player playing with these cards is going to have a better win rate. And I don't want them to use that as a reason to nerf the card, because that's unfair. If I was an average player, I would have much lower win rates with the exact same cards, right? So when this goes to the free to play people, if they don't nerf it and then they wait 2 weeks, the win rate for these cards is going to go down.
Yeah, it's if they're in an interesting spot. I really think they might nerf this stuff, but this is where I'm torn. If they don't nerf it, I'm still going to be the best Bazaar player in the world because Pig is so strong. Except for there, I'm telling you, there's like 1 out of 4 builds, you just shit the bed and nothing happens at all. You're just like, none of these items do anything. None of them synergize with each other. It's all weak. People are doing stuff, and I'm just sitting here with a bandage, being like, oh, and like can't get it. But the other times, you just destroy people. But yeah, if they nerf these pay to win items the second they go pay free to play, oh my god, that'll feel so bad. People like, I almost feel like Rainhead would do that, and I don't know Rainhead, but I almost feel like he would do that just because to get a reaction out of people, because he's like, fuck you, you know, you think Reddit knows best. This is Reddit says I shouldn't do this. That means it must be the right decision. You know, it's like that's a logical fallacy. Not, but I don't know if he actually thinks that or if he just likes riling people up. I think he just likes riling people up a little bit. Um, but Pig's in a weird spot. He's very strong right now, but not necessarily for the right reasons. All right. This is gonna be over a 2-hour video by the time it's all edited and put together. Probably closer to 3 hours.
3 part.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a 3 part video. Milk it.
All
Like
right. Do you want? We'll talk about that after the video. All right. We are done. Much love for Platypus is per Platypus. Thank you, Laliette. This is not our podcast. We'll still do a podcast. Anyway, because hopefully we'll get some news about something. Who knows? But anyway, see you on the flip flops.
oh.
Bye.